Okay, so you'd asked about, can copywriters, shouldn't we as copywriters use better words than the people who, we're looking at to grab the hot button words, right? So when you're using the hot button words, you're actually using those most of the time to figure out which words resonate most with your, prospective customer and your audience. Like you're always writing to one person, like your one target person, um, in terms of their problems, because people buy from people who use their language, they buy from people they like, and they buy from people who understand them, right? And they only buy from product creators who they feel understand them. So you're using their language, both their voice, which we'll go over today, and then which is often the brand voice, and then you're also using those hot button words to talk about how they talk about their pains and their problems, right? What they're trying to move away from. You can also use their hot button words when you're talking about what they're trying to move towards, but when you're talking about your product, you want to power it up, right? So you're not going to use their specific words consistently throughout the entire title, bullet points, A plus CBC description, or on the sales page or sales funnel. When it comes to your product, you're still going to want to use the voice that they relate to, and you're still going to want to use some of their hot button words, but not all of them, right? You're going to have the chance to go through word by word and power it up, right? So an example of a power up, and we'll go over this more when we do bullet points next week. In fact, you've already completed part of the homework because part of it is watching one of the videos that you've already watched, but you can rewatch it. It's on like hypnotic anchors and bullet points, right? So when you're looking at this from a perspective of hot button words, right? I'm trying to circle back to what I was saying last. When you're looking at this at a perspective of looking at hot button words, you're looking at words versus like words you want to power up instead, right? So a hot button word, for, let's say, for like a fibromyalgia product, right? Hot button word. A lot of people say they're dog tired, or they'll say that they are. I just wrote about this. I can actually show you the listing. Give me a second here. They. Okay. Okay. So here's an example. Okay. None of these. Can you see my screen? Okay, so for example, like targeted multi-symptom comfort, that right there was not a hot button phrase. That's a phrase that we powered up, right? Because they have multi-system targeting, right? So we powered that up. And then what the hot button words people were using were saying things like unpredictable pain, right? Like I never know where it's going to be. It moves around, right? Bone weary exhaustion, and then dog tired were two that we saw as hot button words a lot for this. People talk about different sensations, right? And they're used to medical professionals hearing it as sensations, right? Sadness. You talk about fibro fog, which is brain fog for people for fibromyalgia. It's like extreme brain fog. So those are all hot button words, right? We're talking about their problem, right? We're talking about their pain points, right? This right here. So these are things that we know are things that they want, right? So they want it to be meticulously selected, but they're not using that in their hot button words. That's just what they want. Study backed is really important, right? Let's see here. This is a keyword, fibromyalgia supplement. This right here these are things that it actually does, right? Like mood stabilizing properties, GABA stimulating endocannabinoid, things like that. And then soothe your symptoms from every angle. This would be something else that we can power up, right? And this is not powered up as much as some other listings that I work on because the client asked us to keep it toned down because it's a pharmacy company, right? So, same thing here. So, people talking about how it's so much more than exhaustion, right? Like people are complaining on the forums. Everybody thinks fibromyalgia is just exhaustion. It's so much more than exhaustion. Like I wish I could do something. Like I can take stuff for exhaustion. I wish I could take something for the other things, right? So we went through and found, let's see here, like stats, right? 87% report daily pain, 43% report severe mood disorders, 70% have digestive symptoms and headaches like IBS, right? And they use IBS, but we didn't want to use IBS and risk it. So these right here are things that like we're saying right here, we understand you, but we're not even using their specific wording, right? So like powering something up would mean instead of saying like 70% who have, right? We use who can't escape, right? Like it's almost like, because people say having fibromyalgia is like having a prison, like being in a prison in your own body, right? So things like that. So you've got hot button words that you're using, and you've also got spaces where you can power it up. And a lot of this information here is just filling in the gaps about the features of the product, right? Let's see here. Let's see. You'll see this a lot: power, potency, purity, safety, and I should say effect. And this is something that I started creating. It's called the Big Five, right? These are the big five things that people who are looking for supplements to quote unquote cure, but we can't use the word cure, or to mitigate their symptoms look for. They're looking at the power of it, the potency, the purity, safety, and the effect. So if you search for this, you'll find my listings all over the place say power, potency, purity, safety, and effect, right? Those are all powered up words, right? So you can say no fillers, but we want to make it stronger. So we say zero questionable ingredients, right? Because people are like, well, they question the other homeopathic substances and chemicals and things like that. So we can say no fillers, no chemicals, no unstudied ingredients, but instead we want to take it to a deeper level and say zero questionable ingredients, right? So there's study backed again. We know that people are really concerned about studies in this particular group because when I was going through forums, and I know this is true of most supplements for people who are highly educated about their disease or symptoms. When you're going through forums, they'll all talk about studies, right? So I read the study that, I saw this study that, my doctor talks about a study that, so we hit study backed hard, right? Again, meticulous formulation. Meticulous was like something that came up. These people are all very detail oriented, right? And instead of saying just third party testing, we say grueling third party testing. So this is where you're going to be powering it up as opposed to using their words. Finding their words is about understanding their problems and about understanding the product they're looking for and what features they're looking for. So you kind of have an idea about what excites them and what's going to create the most alluring listing based on highlighting and showcasing what's most alluring about that product, right? So we also know that, from doing competitive research, that the products that are selling the most are the ones that work fast, which makes sense, or the ones that have extended release, which means they continue to work over time, right? So you don't have to keep taking them constantly, like the dissolvable tablets. Okay. So we're going to go through a lot more. We're going to spend a lot of time on bullet points, but this is kind of hopefully giving you a better picture um, of why we're going through and doing the hot button research and where that goes. And we use it to determine like what they're looking for. Like these people want something that is going to cover everything. It's going to fix all their problems, right? They want something they know is going to work with their doctors. They wanted something they know that's the best, right? That has the best power, the best potency, the best purity, the best safety, and the best effect. They wanted something that was fast acting. They were talking about how, like, when you go and you look at the positive reviews, or the negative ones, it'll say something. It would say, like, I was saying things like, it worked almost immediately. Like I felt better almost immediately, right? Within like 48 hours, I felt better, right? Especially with migraines and a digestive upset, people really want that. But then people were complaining about how it wasn't lasting, right? So we got that all from hot button research, from going through and looking at reviews and doing competitive research, right? And then natural, safe, gentle. We know that people want natural because they were talking about, this is an all natural product. They were talking about that. They're worried about how it's going to interact with other medications. Safety is a big thing. And then, and again, we mentioned safety. Sometimes you'll do this. You'll mention it twice if it's a major thing, right? And then gentle relief. Okay. So people are worried about it upsetting their digestive system. Okay. So that kind of breaks it down. Your bullet points are always going to be a combination of the benefits, right, in powered up form, the hot button points, right, like using their hot button, speaking their language. And you usually want to start the bullet points about pain or anything like that, whatever their problem is, by speaking their language using their words, right? You've got the features, right? So you've got things like GABA stimulating endocannabinoid, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and mood stabilizing properties, right? And then you've got like your hook, right? Your lead in, which is right here, and also right there, which is like, what is it that you care about? What are you looking for? They want comfort. They don't want like, these people want comfort, right? So this right here is a hot button word. Originally, when I'd gone through and I was kind of doing, I always go back through and look at my hot button words. So when I was pre-writing this, what I did was I had targeted multi-symptom relief. And these people aren't talking about relief, right? They're talking about comfort. And so we've changed out the word relief for comfort, right? Because it's a hot button word. It's speaking their language. They want to be comfortable. I just want to sit down in comfort. I just want to be able to be comfortable again while I'm sitting. I just want to be able to be comfortable again when I'm walking. They don't even imagine relief is too high of a jump for them right now. It's too long of a jump. It's too big of a, like, you wouldn't want to overclaim that because they don't believe relief is possible. They do believe they can attain some level of comfort. And the truth is that this combination probably does provide long-term relief for as long as you take it. But they don't want to know about relief. So those are a little bitty things, right? So if you were to break this down, and again, we haven't even started the training yet. So for people who are just arriving, we're just answering a Q&A question right now. If you were to break this down, here, let's see here. So you have the hot button words of dog tired, you have the unpredictable pain, you have bone weary exhaustion. These were all hot button words, right? You have sadness because people don't want to admit they have anxiety. They talk about sadness. Fibro fog came up a lot, right? And then there were all kinds of different sensations that were described. So we just use sensations. Okay, so right here we have, this is all, and I'm going to do this all in different colors. Let's do yellow, okay? Those are their hot button words, okay? And again, we'll go more in depth in keywords next week. This is just kind of to answer a Q&A question right now. Okay, so these are hot button words, okay? And I didn't use dog tired. We ended up using bone weary exhaustion because this particular supplement costs more money and it's targeted towards people who are well educated and people who have incomes encompassing 75,000 to 150,000 a year, as opposed to dog tired, which we were seeing more amongst the people taking supplements that were making less than 50,000 a year, right? So we know right here that from our hot button research as well. So what to talk about? Hot button research, right? They wanted a supplement that works to help my symptoms so I'm comfortable, but doesn't have a ton of ingredients, so I know it won't mess with my medication, right? We were seeing phrases like this all over the place, right? So we know right here, we just combine this into, you take something like this and you combine it into words, right? So they want something that's targeted, right? Because they don't want something that has a ton of ingredients. They want something that just helps their symptoms, right? So multi-symptom, they have a ton of symptoms. Everybody with fibromyalgia doesn't just have one symptom. And then we found out that instead of saying, let's see here, relief, we were seeing everywhere that people don't believe that they can attain relief, but they do believe they can attain comfort, right? And this was the biggest thing people were looking for, right? So in your first bullet point, and again, we'll go over this next week, but in your first bullet point, if you're looking at something like this, let's see here in bullet points, and images, right? Auxiliary images. Okay, if you're looking for something like this, you are going to look at like, what conversations are they having, right? So, do we know that they want something that is study backed and that is meticulously studied, or do they want something that's more, this comes out of this too. Do they want something that is more, like, there are people who buy things based on the fact that it's been used, homeopathically for thousands of years, right? And they don't want to hear about the studies because they don't trust studies. They don't trust the FDA. Then there are people in this group who've been through the medical system and it's the only thing keeping them sane and alive. And so they want to hear about the studies, right? So we know that because people are talking about studies, and when they're sharing on forums, they're saying things like, I really liked this and I really trust the company because they meticulously selected everything in here, right? They were really careful, and you can say carefully selected as well. They're really careful about every ingredient they chose, and it really shows, that kind of thing. So that was important. This right here is a keyword. We're just going to do a brief overview on how Diane builds bullet points. A keyword, and then we'll go on to the stuff we're going to do today, right? So fibromyalgia supplement, and let's make that. Let's see here. Let's make that one like that color, okay? Let's see here. This is their brand name, obviously. And then these right here as well were also, let's see here, pain, pulmonary exhaustion was a keyword, right? This is a keyword. Exhaustion was a keyword. Okay. And these are all symptomatic keywords. Sensations was a keyword, right? And you'll notice that a lot of times your keywords will match your, like what people are going through, right? And these are all, let's see here, and fibro fog and sadness were both keywords, right? So these particular level of keywords, remember when we talked about, let's see here. I don't know why I just typed in, can you tell I haven't slept in like a week? These, I'm like typing in, there's a keyword, right? I'm typing in sensations. These particular keywords are keywords. Do you guys remember studying customer awareness level? We talked about customer awareness level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was like our first class long time ago, right? These are customer awareness level like 4, right? So this means that these are things that are going to show up on someplace like Google search, right? To find a solution to my problem, right? And so that's going to index on Google more than it's going to index, with the exception of pain and exhaustion, that's going to index on Google and be more important to get people from off of Amazon onto Amazon on your product than it is going to be on ranking on Amazon, right? So we're using it to resonate, but it also has keyword benefits. So this is customer awareness level 4, which if you guys remember, I don't know if anybody memorized that, but customer awareness level 4 is, I know I have a problem. I know there's potentially a solution. I don't know which solution I want. Actually, it's customer awareness level 3. Sorry, 4 is I don't know I have a problem. Okay. So, and then this right here, these are keywords. We did keywords in, let's see, that weird pinky color, like that. Okay. And then this right here is, here you have your features, which is going to be a different, let's go with green. Okay. And we're going to go properties, right? And then this right here, a lot of times you're just going to do the outcome they want, right? And you can do that by circling back, right? Target a multi-symptom comfort, soothe your symptoms from every angle, right? We would start with soothe your symptoms from every angle here if we weren't trying to ask questions to open up their subconscious mind, because these people are also at customer awareness level 5, which means they're very jaded and they've tried a lot of things. So a lot of times we'll use questions that talk about their symptoms at the very beginning, right, of the bullet point. Otherwise, we'd say soothe your symptoms from every angle, Neve Pharma, meticulously, right? So this is, the outcome that they want. And a lot of times you'll put the outcome they want at the very beginning and then circle back to it at the end of the bullet point. Okay. So this particular model is using the pain action solution model for bullet points. And we can go over those models. They don't really, honestly, they don't really matter. You can use them, but the way your brain works is, it's going to work one of two ways. You either talk about the pain and then what's being done about it, and then how it provides you the outcome or solution you want, or you talk about the outcome solution, what's being done about it, and how it solves the pain, right? So it's essentially the exact same thing. So that right there, does that help you understand and make more sense of where you're going to use as a copywriter, or as your, when you're writing about your product, where you're going to use your hot button terms, right? Your hot button, let's see here, terms versus where you're going to power up your sales copy. So as opposed to say, it's opposed to saying like, like we chose, you would say meticulously selected, right? Instead of saying, we had a sentence up above right here. So instead of saying a supplement that works out my symptoms so I'm comfortable, right? That kind of thing. You're saying, let's see here, targeted multi-symptom support, symptom comfort, right? That kind of thing. So, and I'm not sure who asked that question. Bilal, was that you who asked the question? No, it was Mohammed. Okay, who asked the question? Sorry, I just want to make sure that I have a note on. It was Mohammed, I guess. Okay. I think someone who popped up. So hopefully that makes more sense about where we're going, why we're doing what we're doing, and where we're going to be using them, right? This right here is also a keyword, multi-symptom. Okay, so here we go. Hello, Dan. Can you hear me? Yeah. I have a question as well. How were you able to identify that this customer group, this buyer persona is customer level 4, awareness level 4? How are you able to make that point? How was able to what? I'm sorry. I need you to speak up. I can hardly hear you. How are you able to identify that this customer level awareness level is level 4? Like, how are you able to... Oh, let's go back to, we can do a quick review on that. Let me see if I can go back to my notes. That's week 2 and 3. Okay, so customer awareness level, right? So if you go back to week 1 of the Master Hypnotic Amazon Copywriter Certification class, we're talking about what drives crazy high conversions, right? So we always focus on levels 2, 3, and 5, customer awareness levels 2, 3, and 5. I'm able to determine this because I can tell whether, and I try to hit all of them, right? So if you go through and you say, okay, this person who's speaking, right? Do they know they have a problem? Yes. Do they know what type of product they want to buy? No. Okay. Customer awareness level 3, right? Because they didn't know. When I was talking about customer awareness level 3, these are people who know they have a problem and they're using, like we know which word they're using to talk about their problem, but they're not sure about which type of solution to use, right? So customer awareness level 3, right? So let's see here. I know I have a problem. I know there are items to solve it. I haven't decided on the type yet, right? So we had said you can do, get a wrench, a ratchet set, a drill with wrench bits or ratchet bits. This is just like this person for addendum from class 5. This person for fibromyalgia, right? They know that they can maybe get a heating and cooling pad, right? That might help. They can get compression gear. They can get, let's see here, pharmaceutical medications, which most of them are on anyway, but they don't actually help the symptoms. They just, a lot of times, they can worsen the symptoms or they can keep them alive. They can get a vitamin for fibromyalgia, but it takes a long time. It takes a long time to work, right? They can get a fast acting supplement, right? Which is where we are, right? So these are people like fibromyalgia. They, they know they have a problem. They know what their pain points are. They're searching on Google, basically saying like, how to, something like this, right? So it'd be like how to deal with exhaustion from fibromyalgia. Fatigue, right? They're talking about fatigue, extreme fatigue, right? How long does fatigue last? Okay. So the reason that we ended up going with exhaustion instead of fatigue is because when we were reviewing people purchasing supplements, they talked more about exhaustion than fatigue. People who are talking about fatigue were talking more about like medical procedures. Okay. So if you say how to deal with fibromyalgia symptoms, right? So we have multi-symptom in there. So how to treat, how to help, how to reduce, how to diagnose, right? So treat, help, and reduce. These are things that people highly search for. You can always go over and do a hot button research just by Google, their SERP, their autofill and their SERP, their search results, right? We can't use the word diagnose, so that is left out. So yeah, I mean, you can just go through and kind of see, like what people are searching for to solve it. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes, that answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah. So Neri, so just to what I just saw what you said. Yes. So yes, they want healing, but a lot of them are they've been through this for so long, through so many treatments, they don't believe that healing is possible, and so there's a believability ceiling, if you will. So if you go over the top and you say it's going to heal or cure you, which we're not allowed to say anyway, but let's say you did, they still wouldn't believe you, and then they'd run away and think that you were selling snake oil. So if you know that, like what they really want is just to be comfortable, right? And people would say that I just want comfort. I just want to be comfortable when I'm sitting down. This makes me feel comfortable when I'm sewing again or when I'm knitting again. I feel comfort now when I'm doing something as simple as trying to sit down on the toilet, right? So that's why we went with comfort as opposed to relief, because relief, they believe, a lot of people don't believe they can get relief, like permanent relief or relief, they just feel like they can be more comfortable, right? They think they're looking for something that's going to take the edge off so they have comfort as opposed to something that's going to fully relieve it. Even though this does fully relieve it, we would be going above that believability ceiling, which will actually repel our target audience. So we don't want to go above the believability ceiling. It's like, there are always people who you can tell they're going to make $1 million in a year and they're going to believe you. But most of the people who you could help, if you tell them that, they're not going to believe you, right? And so then they're going to run away because you've triggered something in their brain that goes across the believability ceiling, and they rank you in a category of, um, someone who's not to be trusted. And we don't want that. So fun little aside there. Are there any other Q&A questions right now? We can do them at the end too, but if there aren't, then I can always dive into this. If not, we can answer them now. However you guys want to run it.
no question from me at the moment. Thank you so much. This is very helpful.
Awesome. Anybody else? Who do we have on today? Give me just a second here. I'm going to go peek. That says waiting for, let's see here. Okay, yep, it's sharing. It better be sharing. I'd be a little bit upset if it wasn't sharing right now. Okay, awesome. Let's see. We have all kinds of people on today. Hi, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to put the screen back down because I'm going to focus over here. So today we're going to talk about keywords, right? Because next week we're launching into bullet points. And bullet points are the most difficult part. It's where we always start. You always write the bullet points first. You don't want to write the title first. Like you can, if you have a title idea, you can flesh it out, but you're going to change it at least 5 times anyway, right? We have a rule of 5, right? I call it the power up 5. We have to power it up 5 times. Same thing with every bullet point. We'll power it up 5 times, and I'll tell you more about that when we do the bullet points so you can see it in action. So with keywords, okay, there have got to be 50 different keyword softwares available in every single country for Amazon, for Walmart, for a Jet, for Pinterest, for, oh, good Lord, eBay, for, like all over the place. There's keyword softwares everywhere, right? Before you use a keyword software, it's really important to understand a couple of things. One, okay, so first of all, before you just go and grab a key, what I'm saying is before you just go, put in some keywords or do some reverse ASINs and, generate a report and decide those are the words you're going to use, there's some things we need to focus on. So rule number 1 of writing a listing when it comes to keywords is conversions generate your rank. Period. End of story. Okay. You cannot put a keyword in your listing, right? You can fill it full of keywords if you want. But if you don't get sales for those keywords, you're not going to index and rank for those keywords. Okay? So that's why advertising is a lot more important than keyword infusion, or I call it infusion. A lot of people call it insertion. Otherwise, if you think about it, if everybody wanted to rank for pet toys for big dogs, right? Let's say there's 18,000. Let's see how many competitors there are for that. Let's see here. It's probably going to tell you more than 2,000 or something like that. Okay. Let's see here. So go to pet toys for dogs, right? Let's say big dogs. Okay. Doop-doo. Over 20,000 results. Okay. Now, a lot of people are under the misconception that if you use pet toys for big dogs in your listing or your title, you're going to rank on page 1. Why would Amazon or any search engine, SERP, result engine, decide that your use of pet toys for big dogs is more superior to anybody else's use of pet toys for big dogs, unless you're getting the most sales and that shows you have the highest relevancy, right? So unless you can get them sales for this keyword, unless you can get yourself sales for this keyword, having it in your listing, it won't matter. And you'll still rank organically, even if you don't use it in your listing or your title or anything, right? We have created just for fun. We have clients who just want to test the theory, right? We have created listings where there are no keywords. There's like maybe one in the title and everything else is benefits. And there's really no major keywords at all. It's just all about benefits and transformation and features and the bullet points. Same thing with the description, right? And I'm going to tell you where to focus your keyword power in a moment for this. But we've created these listings with no keywords, okay? And then we've run advertising campaigns. And because they're not stuffed, they have the highest conversions based on each keyword. And so these people who don't even have pet toys for big dogs in their title, look at this. Check this out. Wobble, wag, giggle, ball, interactive dog toy, fun giggle sounds when rolled or shaken, pet known best as asking on TV. Does anybody see the word pet toys for big dogs in there? No. Does anybody see the word pet toys for big dogs in the second organic ranking listing on Amazon for pet toys for big dogs? Is it in their title? No. Or that one. Or that one. Do you see what I'm saying? But what they have is they have the most sales. Okay. So these guys are getting the most sales for pet toys for big dogs. So you can very easily use pet toys for big dogs if you want, right? But these people aren't advertising for it and they've ranked organically because they get those sales, pet toys for big dogs, right? Let's see here. Desert, no squeakers, multiple layers, made durable, strong, and tough. Here you go. Same thing. Same thing. Same thing. Small, medium, large dogs, right? There's over 20,000 results for this, but none of them have it in their title. And I still recommend that you take your highest volume keyword and you put it in your title at the very front, but that you focus mainly on getting people to click, right? And what gets people to click, regardless of keywords, are your images, your title, like they'll read a little bit about it, like how is this going to catch your attention, right? Or is this boring, right? And then of course your star ranking. After you've hit 26, your first goal is to hit 26 positive reviews of 4.5 or 4.5 or higher. Your second goal is to hit over 400 of 4.3 or higher. And after that, it doesn't even matter, right? But you have people over here, right? This is sponsored. Okay. These guys are still, this is sponsored as well, but they're still smart. They're still advertising. They advertise consistently for as many keywords as they can possibly convert. And they have a system, that everybody who's up at the top here who has this many reviews understands the system for actually ranking anyway, right? But they'll still advertise consistently. Okay. Um, these guys too, they're going to advertise consistently. They're putting in this particular thing, like people, this is as seen on TV. So people will actually search for wobble wag giggle ball, right? Interactive dog toy. This thing is really funny, by the way. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it is really fun. As seen on TV. So, fun giggle sounds when rolled or shaken, pets know best, right? As seen on TV. Even if this wasn't seen on TV, right? Just having a name like this grabs your attention and the image grabs your attention. And there's very few keywords in here. The only keyword in here is ball and interactive dog toy. That's it, right? So people are very keyword focused. So I always like to go back and say, make sure that no matter what you do, you are focusing on conversions if it's your product, because conversions generate ranking, period, right? Targeted advertising generates ranking and higher ranking in BSR than keyword insertion, right? So focus on what you need to do to sell it first, and keywords are the very last thing you think about, okay? Um, rule number 2 is see rule number 1, right? Keywords like conversions generate ranking, period. Can you guys tell I'm passionate about this? Because I have people all the time who are like, we want 10 keywords in the first bullet point. And I'm like, that's a really bad idea. You won't get conversions and you're not going to rank for anything, right? Your ad spend's going to go up and your conversions will go down and you're going to have a rough life, right? So don't keyword stuff, right? Readability is really important. Readability means how easy it is to read and digest the information. Okay. Readability can either increase your conversions or it can decrease your conversions, right? And conversions obviously drive sales. Sales drive keyword ranking. Sales overall drive your bestseller ranking, right? So our goal is sales, not keywords. And everybody's all hung up on keywords all the time. Clients are all hung up on keyword optimization. And I'm going to tell you right now that for the most part, like, we put them in there, but when we put them in there, we try to select the keywords that are most likely to resonate with that particular customer base, not to feed the bots. Because anybody who's been selling on Amazon for a while knows that you go through and you take you insert keywords at first, right? Basically to hold a space when you launch your product, okay? So you'll have 1 to 2 keywords per bullet point. You'll have 1 to 2 long tails in the headline, maybe some other ones peppered in that are relevancy keywords. And then you'll have some keywords in your description, and you'll have keywords for your image, your meta anchors for your images in like your EBC or A plus section, right? But you're going to change those out based on and make sure that, if you're working with clients, that they know this. Every month they need to go and look at their sales reports, right? And they need to say, okay, which keywords are getting me the most sales? And those keywords are the ones you start inserting into looking at the title. If you're not already ranking for those keywords and it's not benefiting you financially, change your title, get Amazon to approve it. Start inserting the keywords that actually make the sales for you into your listing, right? There's no way to know precisely which keywords to use until you go through and get sales for keywords. And then you change them out every 30 days, right? And those sales are based on advertising. And you didn't used to be able to, but now you can tell which organic keywords get you sales as well. Sometimes you can tell which organic keywords get you sales. So that's useful as well, but focus on the ones that get you the most sales and make those the ones in your title, right? Make those the ones in your description. So let's go through using keywords, or they call it some people call it inserting keywords by their impact power. So the impact power on your organic ranking, okay, by keyword. Okay, so there's 2 different types of ranking on Amazon. There's actually lots of kinds, but the 2 main ones there's your bestseller ranking, right? And then that's within a category. subcategory, right? And then you have keyword ranking, right? Which is indexing and appearance in a specific space in the search results on page 1, 2, 3, etc. Now, people never look, not never, okay, 96% of Amazon buyers never look beyond the 18th search result. Okay. So your goal is to get into the, page one here, page one as close here for keyword ranking. Page one as close to the number one position as possible within position search result. Let's see here. Search result position number 18. Okay, so that's your goal, is to get there. The way you get there is advertising. The keywords you want to rank for. Okay. So once you've advertised for a month, right, when you first go into clients' listings, you're going to put the keywords they want to use, the keywords that are the highest volume. You're going to insert them, or infuse them in the places of maximum impact power. Okay, title. Something that a lot of people don't know is when you write your titles, the first 5 words before the dash. So, cat toys for big claws, for example, are the ones that usually show up in your URL. Okay, so when you write a title and you're using keywords, you're going to want to have those first 5 keywords that, like, your best long tail keyword, that's like, 5 or so before this dash. Okay, so it can be 4, it can be 3, right? Or you can do something like stainless steel salad spinner, right? And then you put a dash. And we're going to go over titles more later, but this is just to show how keywords work for titles, right? And then a lot of people go, oh, okay, well, I need to go and I need to put them in my bullet points, right? Actually, your description, whether you use description, which I use it in box 2 or position 2 in my EBC A plus when I'm writing those, right? Your description has a lot higher ranking power and indexing power than your bullet points. Every keyword at this point in time, and Amazon may change this, every keyword in your description, and a max of 1,000 characters are allowed, 2,000 characters allowed. Every keyword in your description indexes. Okay. And you have a maximum character count of 2,000, including your HTML. So that would be like your, if you have like bold, right? Is, oh my gosh. Right? So like if you have bold, or if you have like line, or if you have italics, which some do allow, some don't, depends on whether or not you're locked into the old grandfather phase. Or if you have, like you need line breaks, right? But bold, italics, and line breaks are the ones most commonly used. Bold and line breaks are the ones most commonly used, right? So let's say bold and line breaks. I'm going to go into italics. Right? So it has to be under 2,000 characters. But let's say you manage to get, if you can get 20 keywords in there, and those are keywords, if you can get 20 keywords in there, and they're keywords. Hi, Ellie. Nice to have you on. I just now saw your message. If you can get 20 keywords in there, and they're keywords that you're already selling for, that's really good rank juice. No. Please don't worry. This is all pre-recorded. Don't worry. We're having all kinds of fun issues over here. I'm not on camera because you guys should see what I look like this morning. It is crazy. But I'm really glad you're here. So let me give you a second here. So, see here, advertising to this. Thank you. Absolutely. Okay. So if you can get in 20 keywords, right? You can get in, if you can not get in, let's be copywriters. If you can infuse the power of 20 keywords that already garner you sales, right? Then use them in your description. If not, save those spaces in your description because descriptions, they almost never increase conversions. Okay. So if you just have an HTML description without EBC or an A plus section, they don't have a lot of conversion power, right? But they have massive ranking power if you are using them to infuse keywords or insert keywords where you already have sales, right? And you know that because of your reports, based on your reports. Let's see here. Bullet points. Okay. So this is where I start getting a little bit passionate, right? So I have clients who absolutely insist that you use 2 long tail keywords per bullet point. I have clients who want you to stuff it as full as possible, and I have clients who are like, please don't use any keywords if it disturbs readability, because we understand that readability and the power of the copy is what determines the conversions, and conversions are what determine ranking. It depends on the education level and belief of your client, right? So I would say, for good measure, I try to get in 2 long tail keywords or a breakup. I take long tail keywords and break them up into smaller keywords per bullet point. Okay. If you only have 200 characters or 100 characters per bullet point, skip the keywords. Go for the conversions. Put the keywords in the title. Put the keywords in the description section, and then advertise. Advertise, advertise. Do not try to stuff to stuff a keyword into 100 characters. You can use shorter keywords, but a lot of long tail keywords are like 5 to 7 phrases long, right? Because people want specific things on their, they're looking for specific things. So they might say something like, I want, they might say dog toys for large dogs with big teeth and small paws, right? Which is not a long tail keyword, but you see them that long and it's crazy. People will rank, like I have clients who will rank their entire bullet points as a keyword, right? Just to mess, I swear they do it just to mess with their competitors, and it messes up their keyword research. It's kind of funny. Okay. And then image meta tags in the back end of Seller Central, when you are putting together your enhanced brand content or your A plus content. When you upload your image, there's the opportunity to put in meta tags, which are just keywords that describe the image, so the individuals who are have challenges seeing, who are blind, they can actually, like hover over an image, and they have software that will tell them what the image is, right? So as they're going down and scrolling through, and maybe, and they're not really scrolling through, but like if someone else, like if they have a software that reads the listing to them, it'll jump to the different portions of the listing that matter. It won't jump to the advertising in between. And then it'll go through those images and it'll read what, those images are about. And that's what your image meta tags are. And so what you can do is you can use keywords there as well. And those meta tags, from what we've tested, don't necessarily rank on Amazon consistently, but they do rank in Google. So it's a great place to put your customer awareness level 4 keywords. Anything that has to do with, like, how do I, image on how to overcome the pain of fibromyalgia, right? Image on how to have more energy with fibromyalgia, right? And then you can say person running, right? Something like that. So you can use those yourself in your listing, and those have great ranking power in Google, Yahoo, places like that. Or you can, like if you're writing somebody else's listing, you can create a bonus and say, hey, I created all your image meta tags for you. If you do their enhanced brand content in A plus, that's not something I do, is provide those for clients. But like something you can do, and you can talk to them about the ranking power of that, how it's going to rank on Google. And it means they're competing less for Amazon traffic, and they're pulling in more organic traffic from other sources. Let's see here. I haven't talked about the bridge yet. Nope. I just saw that. Nope, I haven't talked about the bridge. I don't even have the bridge on my list of things to talk about yet this morning. I think I was going to cover that next week in bullet points. So give me a second here. So I'm gonna keep going with keywords, if that's okay, and then I will go circle back hopefully next class and talk about that, because it pertains to bullet points a lot. So how do we uncover the Diane can't spell juiciest keywords? So there are two ways I see people doing this, right? There's the really easy, fast way where where copywriters just say, I ran a keyword report on Helium-10, and here's the keywords we're going to use. Helium-10 does all the work for us. Every single software out there only use an estimated volume based on an algorithm they created, not Amazon, but that they created based on an estimate of data in AWS. Okay, so none of them are spot on perfect. What we do know is that Amazon knows what their customers are searching for, right? So the first thing we always start off with is we can use that's the easy fast way to do is just run a keyword report and hand it to your client. Say, here you go, here are your keywords. But we can miss out on so many great keywords that way. And we can also really lead the client the wrong way. Or you can send your listing off a cliff by only focusing on, one type of keyword, right? So we're going to go through keywords. Um, and those keyword reports are great for testing out additional advertising keywords, but they're not meant for, like, oh, these are the 7 keywords you should use in your listing. Like Helium 10 openly admits that they do not tell you that. They're giving you examples of what to use for advertising. And then from that, you can pull, what to use in your listing. Okay. So the way that we're going to do it first is manual. So I'm going to come over here so you guys can see what I'm doing step by step. So you can see I'm following what I'm doing. Okay. Okay, so we go to Amazon.com, and you can do this at any of the Amazons, except for China, because apparently they're shut down. Again, I'm dog toy, right? So what do we look for? First thing you can do if you don't have software, and I do this anyway, even though I have, like, I want to say 6 different softwares now that I run through just to kind of analyze and compare, right? I do this anyway, where I'll go through and run a manual search first. Step 1 is, what is it? It's a dog toy, right? Go to Amazon.com, search for dog toy. Then you say, okay, what kind of dog toy is it? How many are in there? So is it a dog toy box? Is it a dog toy, for small dogs? You saw that pop up, right? Is it a dog toy for small dogs girl? See how they have that? Their dogs. Ooh. See right here? So it's like male, female, size, quantity, color. These are all ways you can expand and find more base keywords, right? So we call these base keywords. Okay. So what you want to do is grab the keywords from the top 10 competitors' headlines, right? So we had dog, toy, small, and then someone said girl. Okay, so we're gonna go like this. Then we go to our competitors, and again, this is the manual way to do it. You don't need a pricey software. You can certainly get a pricey software; they're very helpful. And I mean, I shouldn't say pricey; they're worth every penny. There's a few out there that are worth every penny. There are some that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, but I've had great luck with Helium 10, Merchant Words, Jungle Scout, Keywords.io. Anything that has to do with that Google runs is absolutely amazing. You have SEMrush, which is amazing, and that'll give you keywords from all over the place for all these different, oh my gosh, for any platform you can possibly dream up. SEMrush is amazing. They're a little bit pricey for most people starting out, but if you can get SEMrush, it's an awesome software. An SAS. It's like a software as a service, right? Okay, so right here we have the top 10 competitors, and we're just looking at their headlines, right? So let's see here. That's not sponsored, so we're only looking at organic. Okay, so dog fashion hound collection, squeaky parody plush. So these guys are looking like the only keywords they really have in there, right, are plush dog toys. Okay. So these guys have a bunch of keywords. Okay, so these guys have puppy toys for teething, puppy chew toys for small dogs, dog toys for small dogs. And then they also have the color at the end of that one, right? So you see puppy chew toys for small dogs, puppy toys for teething, dog toys for small dogs. Let's see here. Water bottle dog toy, wine, right? See, this one is just literally, you can say it's water bottle dog toy. And again, you're just kind of, feeling this out. And this one says wine, right? So your product wouldn't be wine. This one was pink. This one was wine. Let's see here. Hyper pet tennis balls for dogs. Tennis balls for dogs. Okay, and then they have dog ball dog toys. And these are really interesting. Anytime you see a 4, you're gonna want to have one of these. Combine all of your 4s, like for exercise, right? You're gonna have a list of like for exercise, anxiety. It's gonna say something like anxiety, chewing, gnawing, etc. Things like that, right? So all of your 4s, even if it's not in one, you don't see them all in one bullet point. Okay, these ones also have pet ball launcher. Okay, and you can open up and click on these, the ones like this that are over 80 characters that are not mobile. It's called mobile optimized, but honestly, it's not really mobile optimized because the ellipse compels people to click to see more than seeing the end of something, right? They're looking to they can easily rule out what they want or don't want with this one. You want to have a longer title because you want that ellipse right there, right? Plush dog toy with squeaker. Plush dog toy with squeaker. Okay, let's see here. That's just a plush dog toy. You can also have a whole, see how I did 4 here? You can also have a whole section with, right? With squeaker, with um treat cavity, with etc. Right? So there's with and there's for that always end up in titles. Let's see here. Squeaky plush dog toys. Squeaky plush dog toys. And this one also says squeaky crinkle hide and seek toys is probably what that says, is my guess. So you're going to go through, you're going to grab the keywords from the top 10 competitors' headlines, right? But only grab the ones that are relevant to your product. Okay. So if you're selling dog toys for large dogs, you wouldn't want to go and grab the keywords from the listing for dog toys from small dogs, right? Then you go and you type in these keywords. And this is usually I use an Excel spreadsheet for this, but I'll just give you a quick example because you guys can do this. This is pretty self-explanatory, but I just want to, show you just in case. So plush dog toys. Okay. So what comes after plush dog toys? I always do a print screen because you can't come over here and type and have this stay up sometimes. So you can do plush dog toys and, I have mine set up so I can, but it used to not be like this. So for aggressive chewers, for medium dogs, for large dogs, for small dogs, and grab anything dogs, aggressive chewers. There's one of those long tail that I was saying. Sorry, I keep jumping on. Grab anything you see on this autofill, right? Uh, that seems like it pertains directly to your product. There's another with squeakers, right? Uh, pack, the big one, without squeakers. Okay, so there's that, right? Same thing for puppy toys. Oops. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry guys, bear with me here. Puppy toys for teething, right? Small dogs, large dogs, medium dogs. You're going to start to see a pattern here. Okay, so for small dogs, for large dogs, for medium dogs. Okay, for dogs. Well, that was even for dogs, that was dogs. Small dogs made in the USA. That's always a big one when you give something to your pet. When you're giving something to your pet, people will look for that. Or when you're giving anything that goes in or on yours or your pet's body, people are looking at where it's made. Let's see here. Big dogs, large breed dogs. One of the cool things about this is if you've gone through, let's say you're doing a pet toy listing, right? And you've gone through and everybody's talking about how amazing their puppy feels, and you've got all the hot button words to speak to them on their level, using their language with their emotional words, right? What you'll suddenly start seeing is when they're starting to look, everybody's looking for the same thing, and they're classifying. They're looking for a specific classification, right? So they're either looking for, and I'll go up and change this here. So classifications. So they're looking for, let's see, I want to do that. They're looking for classifications like size, quantity, color. So small dog, medium dog, large dog, right? Look what we see. Medium, large, small, large, right? They're looking for male or female. We saw one about girl. They're looking for adult or puppy. Okay. Same thing applies like any product. What size are they looking for? Is it small, medium, extra large, large? Like it can be a cutting board, and you can have an XXL cutting board or a tiny cutting board, and someone's looking for that specific size, right? The quantity. Are they looking for a pack, a set, a 2 set? And they're using keywords to type this in, right? Let's see here. Are they looking for specific Color, right? So we've seen small dog, medium dog, large dog. We've seen pink was one. We saw wine, right? So they wanted like a wine dog toy water bottle, like wine kind of thing, right? So color, the color was wine. Male or female, right? So there was girl, boy as well. There's puppy and adult dog. So yeah, large breeds. So this can tell you a lot about what you're writing as well. So you want to always perform your keyword research before you start writing, but you don't want to start using your keywords until after you write, right? You don't want to focus. Maybe I shouldn't say that. You don't want to focus on your keywords because you're going to go back and change them anyway after you're done writing. But you want to have an idea for which direction you're taking the listing by knowing which keywords you're going to use. Okay, so you'll go through and do this. Let's see here. Puppy chew toys for small dogs. Um, so I would just, for something like this where it says for small dogs, I would just shorten it to puppy chew toys. Okay. I make 4 small dogs, like part of the 4 or the width, right? So there's width and there's 4. And those are always going to happen in titles. So let's see here. So you go through puppy chew toys for teething, aggressive for aggressive, small dogs fit in right there. Teething, small breed, Nylabone. You can't use that if it's a brand. Brands in your own title. So that'll you can open yourself up to a libel lawsuit if you mention other brands. So don't do that. You can allude to it, but don't mention it. Like don't use their direct brand name or the direct product name. Small breed, large breed, etc. Okay, let's see here. So you can go through all of these different things, and make sure you shorten it. So this one is really probably not going to be relevant to our product unless we have a water bottle dog toy, right? So we get rid of that. Unless we have tennis balls for dogs, we don't need that one, right? This is about getting rid of the irrelevant ones. Okay, go through and see if there's any that aren't relevant. If it's squeaky, then great, look for squeaky ones. If it's not squeaky, cut out any of them that talk about being squeaky because it's a specific thing people look for is squeaky. Okay, so you typed in those keywords, you grab the 5 to 10 that show up, right? And you've got things like this. So this is the keyword. These are the 5 to 10 that show up afterwards, right? So those are the that's what makes them the long tail keyword. Okay. So then you're going to go through and you're going to look and you're going to say, okay, which ones are most relevant to my product? Plush toys for aggressive chewers, for medium dogs, for large dogs. Well, if it's for a large dog, it's not going to be for a small dog. So you can say, oh, okay, well, this isn't relevant. It's only for really large dogs. So this isn't relevant. It's for large dogs that are aggressive chewers. Absolutely. That's what I want to rank for. With squeakers, no, it's not a pack. And this would work without squeakers, right? So you end up going through and cutting these down, right? So let me see if I can do that on here. Is that strike through? No, it's clear formatting. Okay, so I'll just bold the ones that we would use. So we know that it'll withstand aggressive chewers. We know it's for large dogs. We know it's for large dogs, aggressive chewers. It probably doesn't have a squeaker. We know it's not a pack, but without squeakers, okay? So these would be the keywords you'd focus on. So then you can come down here and say plush dog toys for large dogs, aggressive chewers, right? And you're just using this right here, and you're combining, this one right here combines those two without squeakers, right? And so your other one would be plush dog toys without squeakers. So all of that boils down to 2 keywords you can use, right? Same thing over here, puppy toys with teething for small dogs, for large dogs. We're saying it's for large dogs. Okay. We can't say small dogs made in the USA, but we may still want to use made in the USA. We know it's for big dogs and for large breed dogs. Okay, so you would end up with keywords like this. And again, you want to know what your keywords should be based on Amazon's autofill results, not just what your keywords are using a software, right? Because the softwares are estimates and Amazon's autofill results are what people actually see. And people will type in puppy chew. Okay. And then, toys. Okay. Toys for puppy chew toys. Okay. Great. Oh, okay. I don't like that. Puppy chew toys but I want them to, for teething. Yeah. No, for aggressive chewers. Okay, great. Because Amazon is trying to understand what people are going to click on, and they make these based on which keywords get the most sales. Okay. Which is why we don't just hand people keyword reports. We go through and we like meticulously cut through the keyword reports and get rid of anything that's irrelevant and anything we look at and we compare them to this, right? And that's what we end up sending clients. Okay, so I was gonna so our final keywords for this would be, let's scroll back up. Puppy toys for teething, for large dogs. Large dogs. I just took teething out of that one. Puppy toys for teething, made in the USA. Puppy toys for teething, big dogs. Puppy toys for teething, large breed dogs. Right? So those are going to end up being your final keywords you can look at there, right? So then you're going to want to take all of these final keywords and decide which ones are the most relevant to your product, because relevancy and sales is what determines your BSR and your keyword ranking, right? And you're just going to go through and repeat that for every single section, okay? Or for every single keyword that you saw in a title that felt relevant, your competitor's title. I'm going to start over. You're going to do this for every single keyword you saw in your top 10 competitors' titles that is relevant to your product, right? So then what you can do is then you can go run those through, some kind of free or paid search engine, not search engine, keyword software. I need to drink my coffee. Keyword software, and then you can get an idea on which ones are hot keywords or how to do those based on volume and competition, right? Like it'll tell you what the volume is, and then you can run a competitive analysis, which is essentially where you take the total number of results. Okay, this is the best way to find fast ranking keywords. Okay, let's say we know, let's see here. I'm going to drive. Let's say that we know that a keyword has, and again, this is for competitive analysis, which keywords that you can rank for the fastest, right? Let's say what's this one? Puppy Chew Toys has, let's say, 9,000 results. That means there's competitors. There's 9,000 competitors, competing listings. Okay, so 9,000 people are already ranked for that. 9,000 products, sorry, already ranked for that. Okay, you can go over here and let's say that, the search volume is, 74,210. I'm just making that up, right? And that's an estimated search volume you're going to grab from a keyword research engine. Like Merchant Words does a great job with that. So does Helium 10. Helium 10 does a great job with just about everything. And then, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to say, okay, I know that there are 9,000 competitors. And I realized you can tell I do this a lot because this thing automatically knows what I'm going to do. Right. So I know that my competitive analysis score is going to be 0.12. Okay. For anything that has a keyword volume over 2,000, you're looking for, the lowest competitive analysis score possible. Okay. So with that, let's say we did puppy chew toys and then we go and look at what are our other ones. Let's go. Where did they go? Let's go to puppy toys for teething. Puppy toys for teething. Okay, there's only 4,000 results for that. Okay, so puppy toys for teething, right? Let's say that we know there's 4,000 results, competing listings, right, on Amazon for that specific keyword. At least those are the ones that are indexed for that keyword currently. And then let's say they have a search volume of, 54,312. Okay. And again, we can, go and run that. So you say, you just want to do that. Okay. So this is 0.073, which is lower than 0.12, which means it's easier to rank for this keyword. The lower the score, the easier it is to rank for that keyword, right? And probably the, better chances of you ranking on advertising and organically quickly than it is to rank for this keyword, right? Because there's more people competing and there's, still, even though this one, people always go for search volume, right? This one may have higher search volume, but this one is easier to rank for. And once you start getting, there's something I've called the Amazon cycle of love. Once you start getting a lot of sales, Amazon will say, okay, well, they're getting sales for this, right? And this keyword is relevant. So let's start let's test this out organically and see what happens if we put them near the top for puppy chew toys. Because they're getting a lot of sales for puppy toys for teething, right? And let's give them a lower cost of advertising spend. Oops. Um, because they are getting a lot of sales for, this one. And let's see if we can get them up to those higher volume keywords. It's in Amazon's algorithm. There's not like a person back there deciding, right? It's a bot. So you'd want to go, if you really want to find out, like you want to run the search volume, right? Merchant words or Helium 10, Jungle Scout, there's keywords.io. There's a lot of great ones out there. Um, and then you want to do a competitive analysis and say, I should say competitive ranking analysis score, right? And the lower the score, the better. Okay. And you want to do this for any keywords you do over 2000. So there's a way to do this with software too. And I can show you in just a second here. So does anybody have any questions about the manual keyword uncovery process? So you know what Amazon's actually looking for, not what the keyword softwares tell you Amazon is looking for. And what Amazon's going to lead your customers to. Okay, I can't hear anybody, so I'm going to assume that was pretty clear. Okay, so next up, Helium 10. Let's see here. Okay, welcome, Diane. They know me. Let's see here. So we're going to go first to keyword research. Okay, we're going to go to reverse product lookup. You can take your same product ASINs if you collected them up here, right? If you're like me, you're in manual first. I should probably grab the product ASINs. ASINs. It's also running a reverse ASIN search for keywords. Okay, so you would have like 10 ASINs, right? So I'm just going to go grab, let's see here. And I love this. If you get the Helium 10 plugin, this makes your life so much easier. You can just grab the ASINs from here. Okay, so let's say we have that one. Okay, this one. And you can even just grab a couple and it'll pull the other listings that Amazon sees as being your reverse ASIN competitors. So many words here. Reverse ASIN competitors. Okay, so we can say get competitors, right? So we can run into keywords for up to 10 products at one time. Okay. So if we don't, let's say we have, we were saying, we have a dog chew toy for aggressive chewers made in the USA, right? Perfect. Small regular up to 15-pound dogs. It's not a large dog. Vegan flavored up to 25 pounds. Also not a large dog. Keep puppy chew toy. Freezer dog toy. Let's see here. Squeaky toys. Dog toys for puppies teething. Pup teething. That's really fun. Rope toy. This person is like obviously just like keyword. Large dog chew toys. Tough toys for. Okay, so let's go with those. Okay, let's go to add competitors. Okay, and now that we've added the competitors, we can get keywords. Right? It's fetching the data. You see, this is so much faster and easier to do. But again, I'm not like a Helium 10. I'm not a Helium 10 affiliate or anything, but I have a lot of my videos in their back-end training program when they're training people on sales copy. So I've got a pretty good relationship with them, and I really appreciate everything that they have to offer here. Okay, so you can see the relevant keywords, right? So you can select, so you're going to see keywords, right? I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Bulldog toys, right? You can go by Cerebral IQ score. You can go by search volume. This also shows you word frequency up here. So like if you're really optimizing your listing, right, you would come up here and add these little guys too. Okay. You would not add Nylabone, but you can sneak in words like Kong by saying, make your dog feel like King Kong. Or does your dog shred shred every toy that he comes in contact with, like King Kong, right? Does your aggressive pet, does your, these are words that you can use and they'll rank as individual keywords, and Amazon will go through and combine some of these as they're going through and indexing your listing, because it's not like they just know what the keywords are. They index everything up to 1,000 characters in your bullet points, right? Everything up to 2,000 characters in your HTML description, right? So, okay, so we have search volume like toys, right? Dog toys. Okay, we know that dog toys is a relevant term. Okay, so you can select that. We know that, if we have a treat, that's great. Like if we had a bone, that would be a dog treat. Peanut butter, that's funny. Amazon USA, always ignore this. There's always, like, I don't know why Amazon USA ranks itself on everything. It's really funny. Dog toys for aggressive dogs, right? So you want to go through and find like the top 20 autofill keywords, right? Do the same thing. Look and say, okay, well, dog toys for aggressive dogs, dog toys. And you're going to find that if you do it this way, all this does is cut out the first part here. You're still going to need to, not that part right there, but this part right here. You're still going to need to go through and, analyze here. The thing you want to look at is search volume trend, right? So if you see toys and you see it's down 28%, obviously we're post Christmas in the US, toy shopping is going to be down, right? There's just not that many birthdays. There's no other major holidays coming up. So, like you want to look at that volume as well, right? So I always advise that so up until about 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we would use all these other keywords, right? We'd use dog treats. We'd try to sneak in dog crate because we were trying to grab side sales. Amazon is so hardcore about relevancy of keywords and advertising to your product, and it generates such higher conversions when you use really targeted keywords that I no longer advise that you do this, which is why I didn't just send you the video about how to do keywords, right? Because that's from 2017. What I'm telling you now is based on an algorithm and people on the inside who we've tested and tested and tested, and we know what's working now, right? So you're going to do the same thing where you go, dog shoes, so funny. You can do Kong dog toys. I can't speak clearly. Puppy toys would be relevant, right? Let's see here. Okay. For medium, puzzle toys, etc., 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 right? So you're going to grab this list. Okay. Let's see here. And where did it go? It's kind of tricky to use this software in side by side because it's so in depth. So you're going to grab those keywords, right? And then you're going to run through exactly what you did before. You're going to look for, you're going to go through and you're going to look for the relevant find 20 relevant autofill keywords for your product. So whether you use, helium 10 or not, you're going to have to go through and make sure I should say you don't have to. I think it's best practices. I think it's only fair to your product if you're putting so much effort in, and to your clients if you want them to sell, that you go through and you double check to make sure that Amazon's autofill, that they are literally coaching your customer. Sorry, they're literally coaching your customer through what they should click on, which keywords they should use after the first 2 to 3 words they're thinking in their brain are typed into that field, that search box, right? So I think it's really important that we know how to match those to the search box, not just how to match those to, the 20% of the population that types so quickly they don't even see the search box before they hit send, right? So the next thing you can do over here is, once you have, let's say you have your relevant keywords, right? So we have a whole list of relevant keywords here. We know that these appear, that these are coached keywords from the search box. We can come over here to, let's see here, listing optimization, and we can go to scribbles, okay? Two of my kids just got home they're screaming in the other room because my daughter's here, and 2 of my kiddos just got home from being gone since after Christmas. So I just heard screaming. Sorry, I paused there. Okay, so you add these phrases here, right? And this will look a little bit different. It'll look like this. And this is so cool when you're optimizing your listing. If you want to go through and, it'll tell you like where you've used different keywords, which keywords you still have to use. So if you hit apply here, what this does is it kind of gives you a color ranking, right? So we know puppy, toys, teething, large dogs, right? But it looks like none of these are really highly searched, like these are not really hot words, right? And the truth of the matter is, when we're looking, most people aren't looking at puppy toys for large dogs, right? And I use this specifically for that reason. If you think about this, unless you have a puppy who's giant, which most people don't, there's no reason for them to use large dogs, right? So most people out there marketing puppy toys to small dogs, puppy toys to medium dogs, right? So this is why I wanted to show you, like, software is not always going to give you every answer you need. Okay. So if you go back to Helium 10 though, right, and you say dog toys for, what's our dog toys? Um, dog ball, dog toys, you can use something like that, like bigger words. Okay. And we had some in there. So dog ball, dog toys, let's say puppy chew toys, things like that, and see what that pulls up. Give me a second. I feel like I just lost my thing. Let's say puppy chew toys. Okay. Okay. Clicking to find search volume 26,000, right? Okay. So puppy teething chew toys, puppy chew toys, puppy chew toys for teething. Do you see there why, like, you can't always trust the software, because the software just told us that those aren't really the best keywords to use, but we know for our product in terms of relevancy, like Helium 10 does its best, and it's literally the best, one of the best out there, right? They're among the best, if not the best out there. But Amazon's algorithm is going to determine it based on your sales and what the keywords that are most relevant to your product that people are going to search for in that autofill section. It's what's going to determine what they click on. And that's going to determine where you show up, whether that's through advertising or organic. And that's going to determine whether or not you even get the sale, right? So the other thing I wanted to show you is if you go and you run keywords here, right? So you can search for your main keyword, and this is right on their main dashboard, or you can go down to keyword research. Okay. You can click this to find trending keywords, right? Like on Pinterest, which is super fun, which, you don't want to necessarily do for Amazon unless you know Marie, and then she can tell you how to do that. But this right here, so we can go click deeper dive into Magnet 2. Okay. And this is going to give us more keywords. And these aren't necessarily our competitors' keywords. These aren't reverse acing keywords. Okay. These are keywords that um, basically their Helium 10's algorithm has identified as being related to your keyword, right? So people who, look for puppy chew toys tend to buy a product that's actually ranked for dog chew bones or dog toys for aggressive chewers, or, you know what I mean? So you can take all of this, add keywords to my list. I'm just showing you some fun features right now, just in case you ever want to use this. You can create a new folder. Second here. I can't get that to click. Hold on. There we go. Let's say chew toys. Okay, and then you would do the brand, product name, etc., right? Whether or not it's Amazon USA, which is .com.ca. So I have access to all of these because I have like the mega super ultra copywriter um, package on here, and the mega super ultra consultant package on here. Okay, so click save. Okay, so the folder's created. You say okay, and then you go back to add keywords to my list, make sure that they're added. Sometimes they don't add when you first create the folder. They did not. You can see there's 0 there. So we just do that, right? And you can go through and do that for every single page, right? You can also make more than 50 search results show up usually, I think. Yeah. So you can make like 150 show up if you want to just grab all the keywords, right? Trying a competitive analysis to get a competitive ranking analysis like I showed you. You can totally do that. So then we go to, where is my product research? I forget where they put my list. Keyword research, my list. Okay, so you can go and you can grab your list from over here. Puppy chew toys. We can export this, right? We can copy it to a clipboard. We can download it. So I'm going to show you. So we're going to download this first, okay? And then because I can't get Excel to work on my computer, I don't know why. We're going to I'm going to have to upload this to Drive. So just give me a second here. File upload. Go to downloads, Helium 10. Open with Google Sheets. Okay. And most people will use Excel. You don't have to use Google Sheets. You can use any kind of database software, right? So right here, it gives you the search volume and the competing products. Okay. So for this, if you're going to do the competitive ranking analysis score, right? All we did was we took anything with this. We might have to go through and just get rid of, okay. Since they have that symbol right there, we're going to have to go through control find. Find and replace. So anything that says this, we want to replace with nothing. Okay, replace all. Okay, you see how I did that? You can get rid of all these by going to Control Find, put in the symbol, replace it with nothing, and then replace all, and click done. That way you can actually run this. So you're gonna take the competing products, and these are in two different columns. These are opposite of what I just did, okay? And search volume. So as you can see, this is going to give you, suggest autofill. Awesome. So this will autofill all of it for you, and then you can actually search to get ideas for keywords you can rank your clients for really quickly. You can search like this. No, wait a minute. No, that's not what I want to do. Not sum, not average. I need sorts. Where did sort go? Vertical line, text wrapping, cells, borders, create a filter, insert charts. Huh. They moved the stuff around on me a little bit here. Hold on for a second. Sort sheet, and we want to go from I think it's A to Z. Yeah. Okay, so check this out. Our best keyword right now, it has a volume of 170,000, right? Is actually dog toys for aggressive chewers. Okay, that's going to be the easiest to rank for. Right? You still have to watch out because there's still 8,000 people ranked for it, right? What we're really looking for is stuff like, let's find a juicy one. So you're going to go down, you're going to say, okay, so we're looking for something like, there's, fewer than 2,000 people ranked. Okay. So we know that this one, right? We can't use brewing maze. I mean, unless it's a brewing maze, we can't use it. Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. I guess I didn't want that. A dog bone. Go through here and look on here. So 4,000, 3,000, let's say rubber dog toys for aggressive chewers, right? Let's see if we can rank for that. Okay, so this is also, so there are very few keywords that you can rank for quickly in here without expending a lot of advertising. Also, if you are a product sourcer, okay, you can go through and do this exact same thing. And how many keywords you have up here that you can easily rank for is going to tell you how competitive your product is, right? And you can pull I do this with like 2,000 keywords at a time, right? So I'll add them all to the list. I actually have a whole team of people who do keywords at this point in time for me. And what they turn out is, really, really amazing. But it gives me a lot more intel than just keywords. So like heavy duty dog toys, right? So even when you reach this level, like there's almost no saturation, right? So what you're looking at is a saturation rate, like how saturated is the market for that keyword. Okay, so we know that this one's going to be the easiest one to rank for. This one's second easiest. You can't use it though unless you have dog bones. Indestructible dog toys for aggressive chewers. That has amazing search volume and not a lot of products, right? Same thing. And it used to be, 2-3 years ago, we would be going through and it'd be like 170,000, 200 people ranked, 26,000, 18 people ranked. And then all of a sudden, Amazon started connecting all the keywords, right? And so then the data got a little bit messy. The data became a little bit messy. Let's see here. Heavy duty dog toys, right? So you go through here. And this is also going to tell you, like, hey, if your client comes back and says, and they have some kind of delusion, or, if you are of the impression that you can easily rank for, keywords, go and take a look at this. And it's better, in my personal opinion, to have an accurate depiction of the uphill battle you're going to face, so you know how to go around it with advertising, than it is to have the delusion that you're going to rank for a product on page 1, position 1, because somebody told you you can totally do it and it's super simple and they sold you a training program, right? So yeah, that's how you do keywords, right? Do we have any questions about keywords?
I do, Diane. Looking at this sheet that you're doing, is there a certain numbers that you consider too competitive and stay away from?
I try to
No,
stay
no,
away,
no.
not for infusing it into the listing, because um, we just want to focus on ranking. This is just to show you, like, ranking, like these are the ones that are going to be easiest to rank for. I always start by looking at, keywords under 1, right? And this is my saturation analysis, algorithm or competitive analysis, whatever you want to call it. But no, there's not words we want to stay away from necessarily unless they flag the powers that be. So they're, something that goes in or on the body that, or in or on pets that is going to get your listing banned, right? You basically want to go for the highest volume keyword. and, keep going from there. But if the highest volume keyword like this, had, let's say you had a saturation rate, you can go way down here and look at this, right? Look at this. There's all these people, large dog chew toys for aggressive chewers. There's 7,000 people ranking for it, and the volume is 603 for searches, and it has 11.6 saturation score. One of the reasons I use dog toys for keywords, every time I'm teaching keywords, I try to use something like dog toys, is because it is such a saturated market. It's insane, right? So if we were to go through, and so there's no real it's more like, okay, well, I know, are these keywords relevant? Get rid of any of the irrelevant keywords, and then say, okay, do all of these have a search volume of at least, I don't know, I drug that. Do all these have a search volume of at least like 3,000, right? And then choose the ones that have a search volume of 3,000 or higher, first from what's left, from top to bottom, which is your least competition to your most competition. You can sort for any of these columns though, right? So let's say we want to sort for, some people like to do it this way, sort Z to A, right? So this right here gives us all our search volume in order instead. And this, because we already went and bolded all of our different competitive ranking analysis, right? Or saturation scores. Okay. We can then see, oh, okay, well, these ones are going to be harder to rank for, but they still have higher search volume. So do we still want to go after them? And again, it's going to be relevant. So big dog toys, if you're looking at puppy chew toys, is not as relevant unless it's a puppy chew toy for big dogs, right? Rubber dog toy, that might be relevant to your product. It may be a rubber dog toy or something that's like rubber. It could be silicone, like product, like a like product made of a like material. Dog toy for aggressive chewers, right? And so really the only time it gets scary, and again, I only pulled 50 keywords and I usually pull about 2,000 and do this, right? The only time, but that takes a long time to go through and compile them all. The only time this gets scary is when you have a product or your client has a product, and let's say like all of a sudden, like you're running all these keywords, right? You're running these keyword reports. You've got 2,000 or so keywords that are, you're going through like the top 50 and figuring out which ones are relevant. You're cleaning up for the irrelevant keywords, things like that. The only thing that gets scary is like if you suddenly come to a point where it's like, oh wow, all of the keywords have really low search volume and they have really high. Hi honey, sorry, just a second, guys. Yeah.
Mom, do you have any dishes in here?
No dishes. I'm on a call. I'm actually teaching right now.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I know. And two Courtney, Daniel, and your mom.
Oh, do I need to step out for a second?
No.
Okay.
You're good. I just wanted to inform you. So.
Okay. Does she need me to step out for a second?
I don't think so. Can I use the bathroom?
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Sorry, guys. Okay, so it only becomes really scary when you literally cannot find unsaturated keywords and you have a client who doesn't have a large advertising budget. One of the things you can start looking at then is a very advanced strategy we call repositioning, right? And I wasn't even going to go into this, but I'm going to go into this now because I feel like it's coming to me, so it must be relevant, right? So if you have puppy chew toys for small dogs, right? Which is there's, a lot of small dogs. There's a lot of puppy chew toys competing for their attention. There's a lot of, huge saturation, right? You can start looking at one, hypnotic anchors, because you're going to want to compete. Two, what else can they sell with? You can maybe coach them on things they can sell with based on where there isn't saturation, right? So you might say, next time you might think about sourcing dog toys for aggressive chewers because these cute little dog toys are super cute, but it's a lot less competitive at the top over here, right? You can look at what other market can use that product? What other channels can they sell that product on? Where else can they sell that product? Like what other channels would be like Walmart, Jet, places like that? Where else would be like, their website, right? A self-created channel. And you might have to start looking at coaching them into, like I would love to do this for you, but unless you have a large advertising spend, and again, it's on them if they pick the wrong product and they don't have high enough search volume, it's not on you to help them reposition the product. But if you're like me and you really just want to see them succeed, you'll look at ways to do that, right? So look at different channels, look at selling it on their website, tell them, hey, like we can run this on Amazon, but it's really competitive for this product. So you might want to consider doing it on your website. I can get you a quote for that if you'd like, and you can show them the data, say, look at the sheet. This is the saturation, for your product of the keywords. And most people don't look at this one. 176 saturation. Most people don't understand saturation. Most sellers don't understand saturation and this analysis. And so this right here, being able to run this can position you as a go-to expert when you say, you know what, hey, even for getting clients, right? You can say, hey, you know what, like I can, you know what, let me run a saturation analysis before you make your decision to hire me, right? Even though they haven't decided to hire you yet. Let me run a saturation analysis for you and I can show you which keywords, you know, we should be focusing on. And, you know, if it's just a bonus to you, that's great. It takes you like, you know, 20 minutes to do this, right? And you might focus this only on clients who are experienced, and then they'll see that you understand what you're doing, right? And you've got a, you know, like a, maybe you go through and you like highlight it red or something, you know, and you say, okay, these are the green keywords, these are the red keywords, here's saturation, make them a little video and explain it. And you're probably going to get that job, right? Because nobody else is going at it from that angle. That's a positioning point. No one else is talking about saturation. Everybody else is talking about yeah, sure, I can sell your product on Amazon. Absolutely. That's what everybody's saying. And you go back and say, well, we can, but only if you use smart strategy. And here's our smart strategy in terms of keyword ranking. And this also gives us intel on how well we you know, like how we should position the product and who we should target and, you know, which language we should use. And, you know, we also do all this great hot button research. So, you know, like, and you can have another video that you just pre-record showing how hot button research works and say, here's how we do our hot button research. Like, does your sales copywriter do this? Do you know how to do this? Right. And you make it, you know, like you drag it out and like do a really long 2-hour video. And, you know, by the time they get through like the first 10 minutes, they're going to be like, okay, this obviously this person knows what they're doing. And, you know, I want them to do this for me because I don't have 2 hours to go through and do this, you know? So that's just another tip for the people who are actually attracting clients. Those are great client attraction resources, right? Miri,
That's
does
great tip.
does that answer your
That's a
question?
wonderful tip. Yes, yes. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Because yes, because I was running numbers through my head because I seen in the past like a very very search volume and high competitive product, and I was wondering like, okay, what's my position here? What who am I to tell the clients is this good or not? So what you're explaining is really helpful. Thank you.
I say like try to go for like the top 20 relevant ones. So you can clean out the top 20 to the top 50, but look for the top 20 with the highest search volumes, right? And you can see sometimes they align and sometimes they don't, but it just gives you a better idea on what to use. Okay, any other any other questions about keywords? Okay. Um we're at 11 sorry, go ahead.
Thank you for sharing the competitive analysis. Actually, it's the first time that I saw it. Um, the one that I know is relevancy score.
Yeah, we're the only ones doing the competitive analysis. I've been doing it for 7 years. And even when I talk to other people who write sales copy, they're like, yeah, but you know, the software just does all the work for you. And, you know, they're going to have to change them anyway. So we're just going to do it that way. And I'm like, no, because we're in charge of getting the client sales, not just in charge of figuring out how to insert keywords. That's my personal belief. Right. So, okay. And sometimes, a lot of times, I don't send the client the competitive analysis. I send them a finalized, beautiful sheet that says, these are your final keywords, and this is what you're going to use in advertising, and, you know, that kind of thing. Let's see here. Okay. So, our next topic today is brand voice, right? So we don't have to dig a ton into brand voice. We don't have to become branding experts or any of that. We just really need to know what kind of tone we need to use based on who we're selling to or what kind of tone the client's brand wants us to use, right? So this is just kind of a little practice to get you in the mode because clients are going to come to you and say, our brand, and some clients will come to you and say, our brand is likable and playful and fun, but never makes jokes about serious things, right? That's what every brand is right now. Like that's what everybody says. We're empowering and, you know, energetic and fun, and we never make jokes about serious things, right? Or jokes that demean people. I've received probably 50 brand documents in the last 2 years that have exactly that. Everybody wants to be Dove, basically, right? So a brand voice, I need to hold for a second here. A brand voice is essentially the personality of your brand, and on Amazon and on e-commerce sites, it's the personality of your products. You know, you may have a brand that sells to 4 different people. Okay, 4 different, you know, I mean, they're going to sell to millions, but 4 different specific types of people. And then you're worried about product voice, right? If you're selling to more than one type of person. But if you're going after a demographic, like your product voice will come from your brand voice, but it'll be a little bit different. It'll be tweaked a little bit, right? So you have to think about, what is your brand persona like? And your brand voice should always be someone they want to listen to, right? Someone they trust, or someone it makes them feel good to hear that tone, to read that tone, because they're really not hearing it. They're hearing it in their head, to read that tone, right? So the easiest way to say this, to figure this out, is you can go through and find examples of listings that you really like for your product, or you can go through and ask your clients for examples of advertising or listings on websites and Amazon that they really like the feel of, right? So you can look at all those different listings and the different things that they send or that you like yourself, and you can see if they all sound the same, right? And the biggest challenge here is to make sure that who you're speaking to, because there can be a disconnect between the tone that you use in your sales copy and the way someone wants to be spoken to. And that's why we use hot button words as well, because that also overcomes that. Those hot button words give us a feel for the tone to use, which is also the same thing as the brand voice or the product voice, right? There are some brands that are very specific about their voices. They tend to be well-established brands. A lot of individuals who sell a line of products, which is called a brand line, on Amazon or Walmart or wherever, they don't really. Their voice is friendly. They want to come across as friendly and relatable, and the personality is in their products and in their sales copywriting, right? So the way that you write about the product. So the most important thing about brand voicing, all the time, is every once in a while you're going to come across really premium products, right? So there's some products that I write for that sell for over $1,000 on Amazon. Okay. And there are other products in that category that sell the same category that are selling for like 45. Okay. Maybe 150 to 45 is better. A product that sells for 150 and everybody else is selling for 45, right? A lot of times we run into an issue where where clients, or, where maybe you think it's the appropriate, or maybe not you, but your partners or whoever you're working with thinks the appropriate, way to sell a premium product is to sound pretentious or serious or, grandiose or, unfriendly, right? Like we're better than you kind of thing. We never ever want to speak down to our customers. Okay. We always want to lift them up and be empowering. And that's because doing that really helps sales, right? There are some copywriters out there. There's one called, I think it's called like the Copy Jerk or something like that. And they specialize in they sell money making products. They write sales pages for money making products to a very specific demographic. Usually it's like age 18 to 24. And they do things like talk down to their demographic. But again, that's a very, 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 very specific demographic that we will not be selling to on Amazon, right? And it's for like training programs. And the way that they try to get them in is by making the person feel like, to convince them to buy is by making the person feel stupid and realize how stupid they are. We don't do that, right? So just that little caveat. So examples of brand voices is like someone who's down to earth. And you can, every time you go through and look at these different, there's thousands, millions of brand voice combinations, right? So it can be anything, right? You can let the client dictate it. You can do what, feels right for that particular audience. You don't even have to define what the brand voice is if you speak in the language of the audience and you use their tone, right? But you're going to see these things where it says, okay, this is our brand voice, right? This is how we speak, right? Our brand voice is down to earth. Can you think of someone who's down to earth, right? And then, okay, so that would be, that person's speech is likely your brand voice. It's authentic. It's funny and casual, helpful, parent to parent, mom to mom, dad to dad, right? So you're going to see these things in what are called brand documents, right? Or a brand guide or a brand outline or our, splash guide or our, mission guide when it comes through from clients, right? You may want to create one of those if you are a brand and you don't have one yet, right? There's something called the Brand Bible. So if you want to learn more about branding, you should go, I think it's called the Brand Bible. Let me double check that. Brand Bible. I think that's what it's called. So, and it's not a religious text, right? So this is a poor advertisement, by the way, because I just typed in the Brand Bible, which means I'm looking for the complete guide to building, dining, and sustaining brands, right? Okay. But it pulled up Whoever has this ranking is trying to get someone to buy a Bible when I'm doing business research, right? Probably not in that same mindset to do that. So let's see here, going back to where I was. Okay, so you would look through, like you can decide, you can go and look at different listings. You want to look at the top listings. The top selling listings always have some kind of strong voice, right? And they just like, it's either a strong, powerful voice that's uplifting and empowering, or friendly yet informative, cute and trendy, which I use all the time in baby and pet products. Um, and you can start creating brand voices that you can refer back to, like a brand voice template. I never have. For some reason, my brain just stores it. You can create like a brand voice template for each of the brand voices for the clients you serve. And then have something to refer back to for inspiration, right? And say, oh, I did this listing, or we read this listing about, maybe it's your third product you're selling on Amazon and you get to product 250, or you're on your 1,000 SKU and you're like, I'm just burnt out. I can't think of anything to, say about this. And I'm not getting a brand voice. And then it's like, okay, you can go back and say, well, we want this to sound empowering and uplifting, friendly and innovative, informative. And again, a lot of people say brand voice interchangeably with product voice, right? So it's your 1,000th SKU. It's a new product, but you still want to resonate like using your brand voice, but you need inspiration to write about that specific product, right? I went through and I said, again, pet toys, right? Because pet toys, it's really, really competitive. And I wanted to do the most competitive things. I don't want to do this based off of, oh, here's an easy one you can do, So the first voice that I used was funny and casual. Oh, and I'm not good at funny. Just so you guys know, you are welcome to judge me all you want. I'm not funny. Um, I want to be funny, but I'm just not most of the time. I have to really think hard. I had to rewrite this bullet point probably 15 times, and it's still not as good as I wouldn't launch this bullet point, right? An ellipse means that there's something before it. So I would have a lead in here, a header here, etc. But this was just for an example. So this was like a hunger binging guard dog with a beef bone. These 6 squishy meats, durable keywords act like a slobber-proof security system for your favorite shoes. No gnaw marks required, right? So if a brand was funny and casual, they wanted to make somebody laugh, but they wanted to do it, they don't want to use really formal language. You would write a bullet point like that. Friendly, chic, popular, right? Just imagine how popular these 6 ultra squishy keywords, that would be like pet toys, chew toys for dogs, etc., will make your fave fur babes at the dog park. Every puppy will want to come play. Oh my gosh. And see, I can hear it in my head. So if you hear something in your head and you start like speaking in that voice, like I just said, like speaking in that voice, I can speak in different voices, brand voices, because I've done this so often. So I'll shift, right? Cute and trendy. Let's see here. 6 squishably soft keywords keep your favorite fur baby entertained for hours of whimsical fun. Do you see how we're talking about the exact same thing, the exact same feature, the exact same product? And they're all different brand voices, right? So this is what you want to, and you want to change, you want to read them out loud and you want to change your voice to sound like the person to sound like that brand voice, right? So you heard me say 6 squishly soft keywords keep your favorite fur baby entertained for hours of whimsical fun, right? And then there's moving, which is like support pets to find their forever home while keeping yours soothed and anxiety free with the 6 squishable soft keywords that won't let them down. So you always want to read it out loud to make sure that you're achieving the right brand voice, right? And you do this for all your bullet points. You do this for your entire listing. Superior yet relatable. 6 squishy keywords engineered from the finest BPA-free silicone for resilience that stands up to the sharpest teeth. Okay. And then this one is a swear word, but it's, I like it, but I don't, like, I tried to write it as not a swear word, but I couldn't think of a better, this is like leather jacket wearer, right? Like someone who's like, gung-ho, right? That kind of person. So this one I said, doesn't matter if your bloodhound's a popper, ripper, or shredder. These 6 keyword bad boys stand up to the sharpest teeth in the wolf pack. Engineered from tank tough silicone so they won't damage your dog's teeth, right? So see how I read all of those in a different voice? It's really important that when you go through and you choose your brand voice, it sounds like what you want your brand voice to sound like. The person speaking it needs to sound in your customer's head. The person that they're hearing speak it needs to be the person who uses those type of words, right? So you wouldn't say, like, let's say, this is going to be really funny. I think it's going to be really funny. So you wouldn't go down to use the cute, trendy voice. Like if your voice was cute and trendy, you wouldn't say, it doesn't matter if your bloodhound's a pepper, a ripper, or a shredder. These 6 keyword bad boys stand up to the sharpest teeth in the wolf pack. Engineered from tank top silicone so they won't damage your dog's teeth. Like you wouldn't do that, right? Just like you wouldn't, Like, hear a voice, under, hear the leather jacket wear voice, to say, under moving, to be like, support pets to find their forever home while keeping your soothed and anxiety free with the 6 squishably soft keywords that won't let them down. Right? Like, that sounds really hypey. That sounds like an infomercial. And a lot of times that's what causes that infomercial feeling, is mismatching your brand voice and your product's voice, right? So your homework for that is to choose 5 or more brand voices. You can use them from these lists. You can go online and do brand voice research if you want. You can say, these are the 5 brand voices I want to write in, and master those, and say, and go from the point of, these are the brand voices that I write in. Do you want someone who can write authentically, or mom to mom, or empowering and uplifting, right? Something, et cetera, et cetera. And you can master 5 of them. But this is a very, very small group of brand voices, like a very small slice of the pie, right? So you're going to want to go choose 5 of those. Bring up an image of your mind of the person with that personality, and of them speaking and what they wear. Hopefully somebody who fits that, those brand voices, those brand words, right? The words that make up the brand voice. And then just write a bullet point, just a basic one, like what I just did. And you can power it up if you want. We're not going to judge you on how awesome the bullet point is. Just writing in brand voice is what we're focusing on right now. We haven't even gone over bullet points yet. Let's see here. So any questions about that? Thank you. I'm glad that you think I'm funny, Bilal, because I really I try to be funny, and my kids look at me like I am a moron. So I'm always like, ah, da, da, da. And, my husband laughs, but everybody else thinks that I am just, they give you that teenager look, because we've got 4, hold on. We've got 4 teenagers or preteen. We have 3 official teenagers and, no, 2 official teenagers and 3 official preteens in the house. And they just, they don't think I'm the coolest person on the planet, which is okay, because I'm not. But thank you for saying I'm funny. Okay. Do we have any questions about brand voice? Again, it's something that takes practice. Really, the more you practice, the better you're going to get it. And also identify your own brand voice, right? So you saw how I could go from like who you are as a brand, right? Like Bilal, who are you as a brand? If you were a brand voice, what adjectives would you use to, describe yourself? It's like always, curious, dedicated to delivering the best. And you know what I mean? Sorry, now I've got the hiccups. Oh my goodness. Something like that, like, some people are more serious. Some people are more, into like the education side of things, but they want to be relatable, like superior, yet relatable. So maybe determine your own brand voice first. And that also will give you something to make sure you're not writing in when you are writing your clients or writing about, one of your brands that isn't you, right? To make sure you're not writing in your voice. Make sense? Okay. Hypnotic anchors. Most of the training for this is pre-recorded on a video. And I went back to the video, and the video is awesome. And so I'm going to go over some basics with you. And then I'm going to have you watch the video on it and then answer questions next class, because people can create, watch the video and start playing with hypnotic anchors, right? A lot of times your hypnotic anchors you'll have ideas at the beginning, and you'll have ideas as you're writing, like something else will, show up as you're writing the bullet points, and you'll decide you're going to change everything to that hypnotic anchor. And then something else will show up, and you can use more than one hypnotic anchor for your product. So like hypnotic anchors, just like the rest of your copy, is like a fluid living process. The more you get into writing your copy, and the more you literally become mesmerized by your own sales copy when you're writing that product, the more hypnotic anchors are going to start popping into your mind, right? So a hypnotic anchor is a 1 to 3 word phrase that we create that positions our product as superior. No other product can, and along with the definition that we give for that hypnotic anchor, right? So about the features and the benefits, right? So when a customer is going to search for, pet toys, right? And they're looking for, we know that they don't like destruction, right? They want pet toys that are indestructible. You could create a hypnotic anchor around indestructible, right? So you could say something like hypnotic anchor, something I would use. And again, hypnotic anchors don't have to necessarily be about words that they're using at all. A lot of times you want them to be about words that they're, like as you become more advanced, they're not necessarily using. What are you doing, baby? Sorry. That's my daughter. Addie, you want to say hi?
Hi.
Addie's here. Are you 13 now?
Yeah.
She's 13, you guys. Okay. So you could say, like if you have you're doing a dog toy. Okay. You want it to be indestructible, right? Tibble. I probably just butchered that word. I apologize. So what other things are indestructible? What do you know that are indestructible? We know that tanks are indestructible. I mean, they're destructible, but they're pretty indestructible, right? We know that rocks are relatively indestructible. We know that, what else, right? So you can also go up and look for synonyms. Indestruct. I'm going to see how poorly I spelled this. Okay. Shatterproof, toughened, sturdy, stout, hard-wearing, heavy-duty, resistant, durable, lasting. So what are the things do we know that are unbreakable, shatterproof, toughened, sturdy, stout, hard-wearing, heavy-duty, resistant, durable, and lasting, right? So we think of things that are tangible products someone can touch with their hands, hold in their hands, something like that, right? Oh, hold on. That's what I like. These are good. Goofier greasers. There you go. Okay, I just saw that below. Sorry, I was just making sure I didn't miss a question. So tanks, rocks. I'm looking around. What else is, like steel, right? Like hardwood, something like that. And we'd probably avoid using things like hardwood for a dog toy because people have wooden dog toys. We don't want to do that, right? So you could say tank tough. You could say rock tough. You could say rock hard. You can say steel tough. You can say any of those, right? And all you're trying to do is position your product as being more indestructible, right? So you'd be tank tough. You can also, you're trying to come up with an anchor that nobody else is going to use in their products. They can't swipe yours once it's in there, once it's live. And you're trying to anchor this in the client's mind so that they see your product as superior. And then when they're looking at other listings, they have to come back to yours because they can't find this other thing. So what they're doing is these customers are comparing listings based on what they want, but they want to buy the most superior version of what they want, right? Obviously for a good price too. You can't use a hypnotic anchor and charge 50% more than everybody else if your product doesn't actually justify it. And the sales copy can justify it in sales funnels, but a lot of times on Amazon, your sales copy is not always going to justify when you show up in search results and someone's trying to charge $125 for something that is essentially the same as something that's $30 from everybody else. It's really hard to justify that $125, which is why we take people off Amazon and build them sales funnels, and they can get direct advertising that way. And then we have a ton of room to explain why it's superior and compare them to the products we want to compare them to on the website, right? I'm checking real quick. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so you can go from that point where you can say, okay, what do they want? Indestructible. What is indestructible? Tanks, rock, steel, hardwood kind of thing. You can also think about things like that. You can say, like for, let's see here. Then you want to add the material, the explanation, and the benefit, right? So you'd say something like tank tough, Dura, and again, this just pops into my head. Let's see here, tank tough. Anti-gnaw Dura silicone, right? This is excessive, by the way. You don't have to do this many. Tank tough anti-gnaw Dura silicone. So we added the material. We added, let's see here, withstand your upper's sharpest teeth without shredding to choke hazard bits. And I'd probably tone this down. Shredding into miniature choke hazards, like other keyword, right? Whatever the keyword is. So again, the whole thing is about positioning your product in a superior way. It's like working, like against other products. And there's a lot more in-depth explanation I have, and on the PowerPoint video that I'm having you guys watch. But like Hoover, right? They have a pet power, and they'll go through and they'll name everything. Every feature can have a name, right? As long as you maintain that balance, like a hypnotic anchor name. As long as you maintain that balance between um feeling powerful and feeling like it's really cool and superior, it's positioned superiorly to other products, it's better than other products, everything from the pet power nozzle to the bowling ball sucking vortex technology kind of thing, without going so far off the witty deep end that people don't understand what you're actually saying, and without creating so many hypnotic anchors that their brain is swimming, right? I usually say 1 to 3. And you can name the feature something awesome, but they don't have to be like hypnotic anchors, right? So this pet power nozzle, and this would probably be good practice, right? This is just the vacuum suction hose is now a pet power nozzle. Vortex technology is literally just air movement within the vacuum canister, right? Like, but this sells, right? And you'll see your competitors or your client's competitors um using like vacuum suction hose, right? Does this um easily picks up dirt, grime, blah blah, using air movement within the vacuum canister, right? So like you can power, this is powering up. And someone was asking about this earlier, like powering this stuff up, right? This is powering up. So powering up is like, and we'll go into this more, then you want it, you can go through and like power up your anchors, right? You want to always write at least five and choose the best ones. You want to always power up at least 5 times to see if you can find a more powerful way to say when you choose. Okay. So if you decide you're going to do, like, see how we did this? We went from tank tough, right? Which is a lot of times the first one you come up with is going to be your best one because that's where your brain goes, and then expanded it to anti-nod durasilicone, you know, and we don't need all that. Repel silicone. Right. So you'll see me, I go through and I change things. Even on my class notes, I go through and change things. You're always looking for ways to power things up, right? So power up your anchors, write at least 5 of them, power up at least 5 times on the one you choose, right? And when I give an example of what does power up mean, so let's see here. Power up would mean like happened, right? So sometimes, frequently, always. Okay, so you sometimes, you frequently, you always. Which one feels the strongest? Always, right? That one's softer. That one's a little more powerful. That one's a little more powerful. Okay. So you want to power that up. So you can also go through and look for synonyms. Like if you go through and you say synonym for tank, armored car, Panzer. Oh my God, my husband would be dying right now. He's like a specialist in this stuff. Armored fighting vehicle carrying guns, moving on continuous articulated metal track, right? Things like that. So, can our self-made hypnotic anchors trigger Amazon police? Are there precautions on words we cannot use in our hypnotic anchors? Actually, it's the very opposite. Okay, so here's an amazing thing, right? If you can create a hypnotic anchor that skirts around, let's say like your client can have like, and this is going to be a wild one, okay? Fat suck technology. Okay, we can't say that something blasts away fat. You can say, like fat blast technology. You can actually take words that you're not really allowed to use, or claims. We still can't use the word cure no matter what. You can take words you're not allowed to use and you can try to combine them in a way that like still anchors that thought into the customer's mind when no one else is able to say it, while creating a hypnotic anchor. So they can't tell you can't use it if it's part of your product, right? But I mean, you want to be legitimate about it. It's a little bit, for most products, unless you're writing about something that's in and on the body, there's, like, you can say like, you're not allowed to use the word bacteria, right? You could be like, Bacteria Pro, right? Like we have a client, we couldn't really say fibromyalgia for a while, and so their product is called Fibromag, right? So you can slip in different words um, into hypnotic anchors and these, like hypnotic product names in a way that you'd otherwise get in trouble for making the direct claim, right? You're not making a claim; it's what the feature is called on your product. So you can use just about anything. The precautions are try not to if you're going to do something where you have let's say like you want to say something like blast away fat, right? So what are different ways we can say blast away fat? So you can look up like you might also look at melts away fat, right? You can look at saying, okay, well, our group doesn't want to say they blast away fat. Our people want to melt away fat, right? Blast is too strong of a word. So you can look at, and again, I usually spend like a long time doing these. So I'm trying to come up with these off the top of my head. It's a little bit tricky. Let's see here. You can say like, um, like, what's another word for dissolve? Because we want to say dissolve. So go to the synonym for dissolve. Okay, so melts, disintegrate, disband, dismiss, and terminate, finish, cease, conclude, break up, slip, close down. I would use diffuse or liquefy. Disintegrate is a good one. You could also go like terminate, like termofat might be a good one, right? Something like that. So just play around with it. And obviously, if you're okay with it, people who who run your company are okay with it. You can be like termofat, right? Something like that, right? Or you can say FT dissolve. So the human brain automatically will either see that as full time, or because they're already on the listing got fat, it'll fill it in with the word A, with the letter A right there. So fit dissolve, okay? You can go through and say, let's see here, diffuse solvent, liquefy, terminate, finish, split up, close down. Let's see here. Vanish. So you could use the word vanish. I like using the word vanish. Wilts, perish, wither, die. It's getting a little dramatic up in here. Pass away, advance, appear, burst into, break into, similar span, break up, split up. You can also look at, what else, what other words can you use besides fat, right? So you can say termofat. You can say, fat dissolve. You can do the opposite. You can say fitquify, right? And make that about, like the combination of the supplements together, right? So fitquify, registered, and then, combine the supplements. You can, and again, there's a video that you guys are going to watch. It's like an hour long that goes into this a lot more with a lot more examples. But that's just kind of, what I'm doing. And most of this for me, I would love to say I sit down and I go through this and I'm like, oh, here are 5 automatic hypnotic anchors. They literally come to me while I'm writing about the product. I almost never write about them ahead of time. But because we're going to start writing bullet points next week, I felt that it was important that we cover this first so that you understand kind of what you're looking for and feeling for as you're writing your bullet points. So does that answer your question? Hopefully, I'm hoping. I'm going to guess that's a yes. Okay, so for homework this week, sorry, does anybody have any further questions? No? Okay. Everybody's so quiet.
Actually, Diane,
Yes.
You could shoot me down if you like, but I think I'm very similar to what Bala asked earlier. If you can perhaps shine some light for personal branding, that's one of the things that I've been struggling for the longest time. And why I want to bring this up, because I have a certain kind of clients that I would love to work with that's resonate and align with my beliefs. So how do I project that in terms of, like, for example, before I decided to work with you, I actually had to dig down, like, who is this lady? Is she resonate with me?
Mm-hmm. Personal branding is the same as product branding. We're turning products into people and writing about them with branding. So if it's your personal branding, like, oh, let me see, how can I go into this? So you take it through the same sequence as a product, right? So what are you about? Right? So if the product had a voice, you have a voice. Like, what are you about? If someone asked you, like, tell me in 30 seconds, who are you? And then you say, tell me in 30 seconds who other people think you are. Who other people think you are. Okay. So tell me in 30 seconds who you are. Right. So you would say something like, in this, I'm just going off the top of my head. You might say, I'm a compassionate, health focused survivor who believes that with the right tools, anyone can overcome and achieve anything. You might put like mindset, beliefs and tools, anyone can overcome and achieve anything, right? So that right there, so that's just me who like just off the top of my head, right? And that would go under like, who do other people think you are? This right here, this is your personal brand, is who other people think you are. I just mistyped that. Clearly, I am someone who misspells things, and I'm not a type A personality because I don't even notice until later, right? So write down who you want to be seen as, right? So first write down like, in 30 seconds, and you might write down like a whole page, right? So, and it's going to be different. Your brand's going to be different for, your personal brand's going to be different depending on which clients you're serving and what you're delivering them at the time, right? So for this class, like I would say I'm like a super compassionate, super curious along with you, person who wants to make sure you have everything you possibly need to excel at everything that I excel at as a hypnotic Amazon copywriter, right? Whether that be in your own company or, some other place, whether that be for pet products or for health products or for, you know what I mean? Like you can write out a whole ton of things, right? And then what really matters, your personal brand is literally how other people see you, right? So you might hear people say, like a lot of times you'll hear people say like, you're so this, you're so that, you're so this, right? So that's how people see you. And your personal brand and your personal brand voice is going to be a reflection of how you want other people to see you, right? And who is the person they need to see? Who is the person they need to see in words, which means the person they need to feel, need to feel in order to resonate, connect, feel rapport, and take inspired action. Right? So who is the person you need to see? Like just in words or, images. Because they're really feeling you out. That's what they're doing the entire time. Right? They're processing you through a filter. And there are some people who won't work with friendly people. If someone's like super friendly and super giving, they take that as a sign that the person doesn't feel confident about themselves. There are other people like me who will only work with super friendly people, and my super friendliness attracts super friendly other people who are warm. I mean, did you notice everybody in this group is like warm, funny? We don't take things too seriously unless it's something we should take seriously. We're like really curious. Did you notice we attracted all of the same kind of type of people to this group? We have fun.
That is so true.
I know. So yeah, so that's like my personal brand when I'm teaching is like I want people to feel empowered and confident and that learning things is fun and like, hey, this seems like a really big hill to climb, but like I know that we've all got this if we work together, right? People who believe in a rising tide lifts all boats, right? Those are the type of people I attract to my training program. The type of clients I attract for hypnotic Amazon listings are not the same type of clients most of the time, right? So, and they are in the natural health field, which is why I love that field so much. But in other fields, like there are clients that I have who they come to me, they're like, I heard you're amazing. You're awesome. Like such and so referred me. I heard you're amazing. I need the link to buy a package. Okay, great. They buy a package. They get the questionnaire and they fill out the questionnaire and then I get the questionnaire and I tell them I got the questionnaire and it looks great. And they don't say anything. And then I give them their listing and they say, this is awesome. Thanks so much. We don't need any edits. And then they come back. They don't like build rapport. They're trying to be friends. They want to make money, which is great. Okay. So I don't need to be everybody's friend, but I like friendly people. And those people are still friendly. They're just very business focused. And when I'm writing sales copy, I'm very, very business focused. I'm very focused on my efficiency, my results, all of my metrics, things like that, right? When I'm teaching, it's a different thing, right? So you have different brand voices, personal brand voices, depending on who you're serving. On my, I have a large following for law of attraction. I have a completely different, like the things we talk about are completely different, but I have the same teaching brand voice in that group as I have in this group, right? So it just depends on your personal brand and how you want to be seen, right? So that's something to write down. And then you can also, like, if you get stuck, you can ask people, what do you know about me? Right? Like, what do you know about me? You can go study other brands or we've looked at websites together of like personal brands that you like, right? Those websites, when we say, oh, I really like this person, you like their personal brand. That's their customer facing brand of who they are. That person's probably also fulfills like 20 other roles and can change into 20 different personalities based on who they're serving or who they're not, who they don't want to. So does that help with more on personal branding? And there's some, I mean, if you want to get really into personal branding because you're going to the coaching consulting side, oh my gosh, you wouldn't read the brand Bible. You would, give me a second here. Oh, let's see here. I can't remember who it is. Not for Dummies. Okay. I'm hoping this purposeful personal branding organizer, right? That's really expensive. You don't need that whole thing, but it's really good. Let's see here. Nope. 1 million followers. There it is. Brendan Kane wrote this book called 1 Million Followers. Okay. This book is all about personal branding. All about it from beginning to end. So if you read like that one book, you're going to know more about personal branding than most people ever do. And even though he's talking about 1 million followers and he's giving you step-by-steps on how to build a massive following, he really goes deep into like into I don't he doesn't even call it personal branding, but that's what it is. If you want to, like have a brand and build it, like this is a good book to read basically. That one I don't know about. See, there it is again. Let's see.
I bought that
Platform.
book and I have to read it. Thank you for recommending that again.
It's a great book. Let's see here. I'm about to go. I've gone through it. I'm about to go through it again. Let's see. Infographic guide. No. There was one other one I'm trying to I don't see it. Marketing Instagram. No. Creative personal branding, the strategy to answer what's next. Okay, so this one is also really good. This is once you kind of this is once you have a much better idea of who your personal brand is and how you're going to grow your audience. And as you start to grow an audience, they'll tell you who your personal brand is. And you'll be able to look at those people and say, am I attracting the people I want to? Because and those are one, people who can pay you, two, people you can truly help, and three, people you love to hang out with, right? So people who can pay you, people who can truly help, and people you love to hang out with. That's who you want your personal brand to attract. Okay. Because if you have, a bunch of people you can help and you love hanging out with them, but they can't pay you, you don't have a business. If you have a bunch of people who you love to hang out with and they can pay you, but you can't help them, you don't have a business, right? So focus on, the people you can help, the people who can afford to pay you, and the people who you like hanging out with, right? And that's who you want to attract, and that's what determines how your personal brand is positioned. That's personal branding 101. There's like personal branding 500. I'm not like I personally have not done a lot of personal branding. I just came out as who I was, and I was like, I love everybody and I want to teach everybody all this awesome stuff because I hate seeing people fail. Like I hate seeing the heartbreak from people failing, in business especially. Like, you're trying to feed your family, please don't fail, let me help you. And that shot me in the foot financially for a while. And I had to go back and say, okay, what pieces am I missing? Well, I need to attract people who can afford to pay me, unless they're people who are very much like me and, like want to bootstrap to the top. And then I said, okay, well, I'm not even able to take those clients anymore. I'm going to move them into a training program, if they want that. I can't do the done for you for everybody anymore, right? It's too mentally exhausting to try to do that with 85 products in a month. For me, I used to be able to do 5 a day, and now it's just Amazon's changed so much, and we have such a large diversity of products that your brain is melting by the end of the day if you do 5. So now I've got to cut it down to, who can I help? How can they pay? Like, can they afford to pay me what I'm worth? And also, what I need to make. And then, like, how do Like, do I like hanging out with him? Right. And so then you create different, and I'll just tell you, like, you go through and you create different tiers. The way that I interact with personal branding for people who are paying $5,000, $6,000, $10,000 to go and have me take their new product and launch it from beginning to end, from cradle to grave, and provide guidance along the way, or $20,000, it just depends. Those people, we have a very different relationship, right? And I have a very different brand approach with those people than I do with you guys, because it's like, I'm going to teach this anyway. I would love to get paid for my time to compensate for it. I would love to have amazing people to come and work with me in my business. But, like, I don't have to charge X, like all this money to do this. I can charge something that I feel is more reasonable, that I can, if I really like somebody, but they can't afford a listing, like, I can put them in the training program, right? That kind of thing. So you're going to have different personal brands based on, like, who you're serving. That's really funny. I just saw this. You already built a brand, Neri, like, with your book. Like, you already built a story brand, right? You can use that story for everything if you want. So you can, use it to talk about how you realize that the biggest difference, between the people who made it and the people who didn't, um, like, that it doesn't.
Diane, sorry, go ahead, please.
No, you're fine. I was just, there's like dogs and 4 kids on the other side of the door. So I was like, what is that noise? Click, 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 click. It was a dog running down the stairs. Click, 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 click. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was. It's a good thing that I muted myself, because when you were saying about, when you first came out, you say, I just wanted to help people, be better lives, stuff like that. I was like, I'm start writing stuff down, and it's like, and you said that exactly shouldn't, what really you shouldn't do. It's like, that was exactly what I was gonna say. I just burst out laughing.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, they have to be able. That's been the hardest thing for me to overcome, is you want to help everybody. They have to be able to afford you, right? So you can create a free training program like I did on YouTube, and it's not as comprehensive, or nearly as comprehensive as this. And some of it's outdated over there. So people can still use some of it, though, to try to launch their products and write their listings, right? But it's not the same as what we get in here. And it's not the same as when I do everything for you. Okay, Bilal, you had a question. Is keyword, sorry, Mira, I saw your other message a second ago. I clicked it down. I'll talk to you more about what you want to talk about just a little while. Keyword listing for a product going live. Okay, keyword targeting the same for a new listing or the same as an already launched listing? We are updating. Okay, so if your client has, or if you have awesome keyword reports, sales reports, business reports, then, and you see where they're getting the most sales, not just organic sales, but you can see where they're getting the most sales through advertising, use the keywords that convert the highest, right? For products that they're already launching. Usually when you're re-optimizing a product, it's because it's not doing as well as they'd like it to. So they're coming to you and saying, we really need to get more sales. So they may not have great sales data, in which case I ask for their keyword report, but I also weigh that against what we know the keyword should be. But a product, thanks, Ellie. Thanks for letting us know. I hope everything goes okay. A product that is not performing well it's not because, a lot of people say, well, it's because we used the wrong keywords. No, the keywords don't pay your bills. Like, you can write a listing with 0 keywords, and if it converts well, all the keywords you advertise for, and then the like keywords related to that Amazon's in an algorithm says these are related, you'll rank for all those keywords, right? So be really, really careful if they don't have high conversions already and you're re-optimizing it to actually get them into the green sales zone, right? Make sure that you do your own analysis as well. And some people are fierce, like, we already ranked for these keywords, so we don't want to take them out of our listing. I'm like, awesome. So those keywords are super relevant and they're attracting in the right people. And they're like, well, no, obviously, because it's not selling. Okay, so we can either change the listing to match the people that are already being attracted in by traffic, or we can change the traffic to the higher volume of traffic that you can get, and then match the listing to those people so you have higher sales. But you can't do both unless you launch a different product or the same product under a different brand name, right? Does that make sense? That's really important. I'm going to repeat that. You have 2 options when clients have these keyword reports, and they are just like, they are determined that you're going to use these specific keywords they've already ranked for. Okay. 1, you can say, well, we can look at those keywords, even though they're lower volume, and we can use them in your listing, and we can then, you know, like write the listing around the people who would use those keywords, but you're not going to get nearly as many sales as if we can shift over to these higher volume keywords, and a greater portion of the population, even though you're always only writing to one person, a greater portion of the population, and then, you know, get you more sales by fine tuning the listing around those keywords, right? And those people are keyword centric. Most of the time, you don't even have to have that conversation once you're an established reputation. Like if someone comes to you and says, well, tell me about keywords, I say, no. Like, I'm not going to talk to you about, I'm not going to go to battle with a client who believes that they're right but can't get sales, right? There's no reason for me to battle with people like that, because they're just going to keep believing they're right and not getting sales, right? No matter what you do, they're going to believe they're right and they're going to not get sales. They will find a way to sabotage it. And it's happened over and over and over again. Like I had a client, that particular type of people, that particular type of person who wants to go to battle with you is going to find a way, like one of this person I worked with, who I worked with once and I will never work with again, to suddenly start changing things on the back end and change out, you know, like use crappier images. And then like they went to most people don't do this, but they went and they purchased a, you know, like their next batch of products. They didn't even purchase the same products. They purchased something very different and sold it to people, right? So, and I'm not saying everybody who's keyword focused is like that, but unless you have conversions, your keywords don't matter. So if they think that they have great keywords, you know, then great. Look and see what the conversions are and what the search volume is for those keywords and use those ones. You know, look at the conversions for their product and use those keywords, but don't automatically assume the client's keywords are the right keywords. It's still good to do your research. That was a long answer to a very simple question. Sorry. There's so many caveats to that, you know?
No, please don't say sorry, because that's really helpful.
Okay.
It's kind of, in a way, help us handling their objection.
Product that is going live for the first time. How can we do keyword listing for a product that is going, hold on. I can't see the original one. I'm assuming it says for the first time. Give me a second here. Keyword listing for products going live for the first, something that hasn't launched on Amazon. It's like something, a new invention, Bilal? Are you talking about like a new invention? Okay, sorry. Okay, so for that, you would use the keywords as close as relevancy as possible to a similar product that solves a similar problem, right? So when we had a product that we took live that was like a beach bag slash tent slash soccer ball goal, not kidding. And it's an awesome product slash like cooler. I mean, it's really, really cool. We would go and look at like all those different things. Like, what is it if you break it down, right? What else would people use to solve this problem? So then you go and you do keyword research on those other things and you use those keywords, and you can use them as, I like to call them like, you know, positioning against, right? So you would say something like, you know, while coolers have this problem and, you know, this problem and this problem, right? And you'd find ways to use the keywords. That's part of the magic, is finding ways to use the keywords in the listing. But really, like, it's all going to come down to advertising and sales. That's all it's going to come down to. And then they're going to have to re-infuse keywords anyway. Or if you're like me, you can go back and re-infuse keywords for them, you know? A lot of times that's something people will come back and say, hey, we got our reports and it's selling like crazy, but we'd like to replace 6 keywords. Can you help us? And I go back through. I really want to help them because I don't want them to mess things up, right? I don't want them to mess with the sales. So I will help them. But yeah, so go and look for like products, look for products that solve the same problem, look for problem-based keywords. Like if it's a headache medicine, look for headache medicine, right? If it's anti-anxiety, look for anti-anxiety. You can't use anti-anxiety unless you use the word properties after it in a listing, but you kind of have the idea, right? Okay, so I do not accept clients who do not have a budget for ads on Amazon, because there is just no team. That's a great question, and I used to. And I don't ask about their budget for advertising, but I make it very clear on my website when I'm interacting with people that the minimum advertising budget you should have to launch a product on Amazon at minimum is like $20 a day. If you know everything else there is to know about ranking a product, otherwise it's like $50 a day. And a lot of my clients, like when they scale, they'll scale to spending thousands a day, because then they get 10,000, you know, sales, right? So the whole point is scaling. But if someone really has to start with $10, they can, but tell them it's going to take them a lot longer. it's going to take them a lot longer to scale up to any kind of success on Amazon, because that's where it all happens. The more advertising you can throw towards it, towards a high converting listing, not towards just words on a page, the faster your product is going to be able to scale, and the faster you're going to rank, the faster you'll be able to, like reinfuse your advertising with more money after 14 days on Amazon, because you're going to get paid for selling those products, and then reinfuse your product with more money and more money and buy more product and like grow your business. That's how it grows, is you have to have an advertising budget. So it's totally up to you, but clients who don't have a budget for ads, like there's no change in how you write their listing. You just write their listing as high converting as possible, and they handle advertising. And I have one, we just contracted with a group of, we're now only going to refer out to one advertising group at all. And they're also handling our keywords. So, and they're handling like a lot of our market research, right? So, because they understand how to manage a budget and grow it. But even they, like, when I spoke with them yesterday, they were saying, oh yeah, we don't accept clients who have less than $5,000 a month in ad spend for 5 products. So they're talking $1,000 a month per product, and that's their low bar, right? I know people who won't work with clients, PPC experts who won't work with clients who have less than $50,000 a month for one product ad spend, right? So advertising spend definitely matters. You can scale it, but you have to be really, really smart about it. And that's the kind of person who's going to need to learn how. There's nine different there's 9 different advertising group steps, right? Like 9 different ad groups you're going to move things, test and move things in between before you even have your like 20 main keywords, right? And that's like a 8-week process. So they would have to have at $10 a day to get to the level where they're actually optimized on advertising. That's $300, that's $600. And then they're going to have to figure out how to actually compete on $10 a day when the click-through rate is up 80, the cost for click-through, not the click-through rate, the cost per click is up 36% on average over keywords on Amazon. And people are averaging like $3 a click. So if you've got somebody with a $10 a day budget, it's kind of hard to test how well your copy converts if they can only send 3 people a day. Does that make sense? So the bigger the budget, the better, but they can do it. They've just got to, I wouldn't advise it. I wouldn't advise that, and you can coach them on that. Like, hey, you can put this up here and it's going to convert when you send traffic, if you send the right traffic, but otherwise, like, it's going to take a long time to test this unless you can find more money, right? I hope that helps.
Hey Diane, I just want to add based on my personal experience. Even with a budget of $50 per day on Amazon, with just a few clicks, it disappeared. That $50 disappears so quick, depending on how competitive the product is. So I had spent like even up to $500 per day, and to see any traction. So
Yep.
I think it's very hard to convince with somebody who doesn't want to spend any ad budget or spending any money on ads budget. I think that would be a lot of energy that you would have to invest, and you have to decide.
Yes, it really is. And it's all about getting traction, and people that's why you keep seeing these bigger brands, become bigger and bigger and bigger. They're dominating because they have the money to invest. Amazon is not a poor person's sport. It's really not. There are some of us who can bootstrap to the top, and 5 years ago that was easy, but now, holy moly, it costs advertising alone. Even if you wrote your own listing and then you had to spend $50 a day on advertising, it's still going to take you a while to gain traction. I was going to go back to, let's see here, to this, so I can anchor this over here, copy link, so that when you guys go through and you read, you can go back and refer to this if you want to. Okay, there we go. Save. Just do it that way. Okay, are there any other questions? I'm happy to answer anything. Anybody? Okay. Well, if that's everything, you guys, you've been amazing today. You've asked incredible questions. We are getting into the super exciting part of this, which is the writing the hypnotic copy part of it, right? So we're pretty much done with research at this point in time, with the exception of researching images. Oh, is there somebody else who said? Oh, there you go. Sorry, Bilal, I just saw that. How do you identify if your listing needs a revision? Does your client request it themselves, or do you check up on the stats as time passes by? I let clients handle all their management of their own satisfaction. So if a client decides that they don't like their listing, which is fewer than 3%, or not that they don't like their listing, that they would like higher conversions, which is less than 3% of my clients, um, then they come back and they say, hey, can we re-optimize this? Can we take a look at this? And I say, great, we can totally do that. Tell me what your stats are, right? And I will ask them what their stats are, because I have some people who are, like I had someone a couple weeks ago who came back and they're like, we've only doubled conversions. I thought it would be better. And that would be a problem if they had 2%, we went to 4%, but they had 18% and I took them to 36%. And I said at 36%, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't touch it one bit. Like with Amazon right now, and they're slapping everybody around, like don't touch it, right? So definitely you can check in with your clients, especially when you start by just having a few. But I'm at the point where I have a lot of clients and they're all grown-ups who can come back and contact me if they have any questions or they want something else done. Does that make sense? And they will tell me about stats. Like people, I do check on stats, but like my clients, I don't keep telling them, you want edits, you want a reoptimization, you want reoptimization. I will check in and say, hey, how's it going? Because they're adults with businesses to run. They don't need me, climbing on them all day, if that makes sense. Okay, very cool. Awesome. Okay, and I'm gonna. I now realize I need to watch the chat for questions. Any other questions?
Not at the moment. Thank you so much, Diane. This is another fantastic session. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
And homework, the third homework. Well, thank you. I think it's been a wonderful session too. I love that we're getting into the stuff that I love the most, which is the hypnotic writing part. So the homework, there's 3 pieces to the homework this week. Let me see. So this one, let's see here. Number 3, you're probably going to, in fact, I'm going to move this to number 1 because that one is the most important right now. You have all the time in the world to find keywords before you launch your listing, and you've got lots of time to think about your brand voice. But next week, we're going into hypnotic anchors and bullet points, right? We're going to do more on hypnotic anchors and more on bullet points. This video is an hour and a half. So this is like, if you want to make sure you understand what in the world we're doing next week and what we're talking about, you're going to want to, let's see, what's a soothing but bright color? Like that one. Can't see that. You're going to want to get at least this part of the homework done. And you have to reserve an hour and a half. You're probably longer. You're going to want to take notes. But this right here, and a lot of people have already seen this video, but it's good to review. This right here is, the video you want to watch to understand how we're going to do bullet points. And we have a couple different formats that we use for bullet points now. We've switched it up since their customer basics, expanded, I guess, in 2017 to 2022. It's been 5 years since that video was created. So there's going to be some changes, but the idea is, but very few. The idea is to get like the gist of it, right? Like I now write my bullet points in a different sequence now than I used to. Because what used to convert 5 years ago in terms of the sequence, because there were only specific types of customers searching on there, now doesn't convert as well. I shouldn't say it doesn't convert as well. We have a better way of making things convert, right? By using a different sequence. So this is where the fun part starts. And the rest of it's just going to be like, once you can get through the bullet points, the title is just like a format, right? And then powering up. The images, like the images you select are based on your bullet points, and you're using power bullets on each image, right? And not long bullets, like that's like 3 words, 4 words, right? Unless you're creating an infographic image, like then you're using more than that. I mean, once you get through the bullet point thing, it's almost like you're cycling as fast as you're pushing a slick boulder as fast as you can, a boulder like a giant rock, as fast as you can to the top of a peak. And once you get bullet points, once you master that, everything else kind of falls into place. So if we have to spend more than 1 week on bullet points, we totally will. But I want to make sure everybody has like some pre-understanding of like what it is we're going to be looking at, right? If that makes sense. Okay. Did that generate any more questions? I just realized. Oh, as a new copywriter, how do we ask for the results of the listing? How many weeks, months to ask for a copy of the report? Will be willing to share? I usually ask after 30 days. They're always more than willing to share, especially if you say, you know what, I want to make sure that we're holding up to our guarantee that you're getting amazing results. Can you answer a few questions for me? What are what's your conversion rate? How many sales is this making? Would you be willing to share a keyword report? Right? Yes, Bilal, we will definitely have a session on EBC and images. Yeah, we're going to have a session on EBC A+. The images to use there, the format, the patterns to use there, right? Which boxes to put where. We're going to have a session on auxiliary images. So you guys can use that as an add-on to your services, right? Because right now what you're learning are title, bullet points, and description, right? That makes you a hypnotic Amazon copywriter. Beyond that, what makes you a hypnotic Amazon copywriter is you know how to use images and everything else, every piece of the listing, to increase sales, to persuade people to buy more, to anchor things in about someone's brands. Like, we're learning all of that. So I just answered 2 questions at once. Sorry. So teen, yes, you can ask for results. Make it about your guarantee that you get them good results, right? And they're always more than happy to share, especially when you go back from the framework of, I just want to make sure we've done right by you, right? And then Bilal, I answered your question. Were there any other questions? Not trying to rush you guys, just making sure I'm not leaving anybody hanging with questions. Oh yeah, absolutely. My pleasure, you guys. It always is. It's so this I look forward to this every week. I almost had to move it this week because of family medical stuff going on, but like that, I just look forward to seeing you guys every single week. I can't even tell you. Okay, so I will get this video. Last time it took like 5 hours for this to render. So I'll get this to you as soon as possible. But in the meantime, if you have access to this sheet right here, the all assets sheet, which I have pinned to the top of our page, if you look at, hold on for a second, if you look at featured, it's right here. You can always find everything underneath featured right here, right? So if you click that, like you can see this sheet, and it gets updated every week. And this has all your homework and everything on it, just in case you didn't know about that. And so this is where I'll be posting the video, but I'll also, as you know, usual, like let you know when it's ready in the class, which might be late tonight, might be early tomorrow morning. Okay, you guys, I hope you have an amazing weekend. I really do. I'm really proud of how far you guys have come. This is like the hardest part that we're going through right now. Oh, absolutely. And I will see you guys next Friday, and feel free to drop questions in the meantime. Okay, we'll talk soon.